buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
The respect for our country, the people who fought for those freedoms, the people who protect us here and abroad, I think those are very important.
We should have listened to our players earlier, including Colin Kaepernick, including Eric Reed, including Kenny Stills, and so many others.
Perception has changed. The landscape has changed. The NFL didn't have an epiphany where they go, you know what, on second thought, it feels like there's a part of the commissioner that's saying, do I just want to be known as a guy who made a lot of money for the owners here? He's Mark Gray's former Cub, Diamondback, All-Star first baseman. How are you not tempted to use steroids?
I'm going to give you the honest answer, Dan. I was a single man in Chicago, and that stuff is bad for your get up and go, if you know what I mean.
Just explain it to me.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
Wait till you see what I do on steroids.
This is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program. It's hour one on this Wednesday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. This show is packed today. We'll check in with the Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt Jr., great comedian Bill Burr, and Chris Haynes does a great job for Yahoo Sports covering the NBA. Be a part of the program in a variety of ways. You can dial us up, you can email, you can tweet, say good morning to Chat Row. Also, our radio and TV partners, Fox Sports Radio lineup and youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. NFL announced that they're going to hold the Pro Bowl next year in Las Vegas, and wide receiver Golden Tate joked on Twitter that they had better play the game the day the players arrive, because after that, I don't think anybody's going to be focused on football. And I don't know if it matters. You know, we don't really watch the Pro Bowl for just how competitive they are. But get used to football in Vegas. The Raiders will hopefully be there in a couple of months. And sometimes teams struggle unexpectedly against teams that are in nice cities that have a nightlife. The Dolphins in Miami, they call it the South Beach flu when the opposing teams come in there. We'll see how that works in Vegas. Not so long ago, the NFL wanted nothing to do with Las Vegas. And I always think back to Tony Romo wanted to have a fantasy football convention there. That's it. And they wouldn't let him. They didn't let him host that. Now, they didn't get to host the draft this year, but that's because of the pandemic. The draft will be back there in 2022. Las Vegas is a destination city for the league. That doesn't mean the Pro Bowl will be any better, but I'm sure the players will have a whole lot more fun when you might have a lot more guys wanting to go to the Pro Bowl. Remember, it'd be like, man, do I want to go all the way to Hawaii? Do I want to go to Orlando? Oh, Vegas. I'm going to go to the Pro Bowl there. This program is brought to you by these great wireless earbuds, Raycon, R-A-Y-C-O-N, and you can order them at buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. Got a poll question, play of the day, and stat of the day or two coming up as well. McLovin will help us with the poll question here in a moment. The NFL teams some NFL teams, and you may not know this is going on right now because there's other things to be worried about, but there are teams that are looking at asking the commissioner to push the season back. We keep talking about this second wave, whether it's baseball or football. We haven't gotten through the first wave yet. So until we get through the first wave, I don't know if we can be worried about the second wave yet. Here's Albert Breer. He was on WFAN in New York. He is the Monday Morning Quarterback senior football writer.
I know for a fact that there are teams that want the season backed up now. Like that would rather the league just bite the bullet right now and say we're starting October 1st or whenever that date is, right? They've got flexibility. I think the point of a lot of these teams is, why don't we wait a month? We'll give our players time to get in shape. We'll give everybody a chance to get their house in order. We'll adjust the rules.
And, this is a point that I brought up a couple of weeks ago. I don't even know when it was when we released the schedule. How long ago has that been, McLovin? I have no clue about time.
I have no idea. It was after the draft. So
is that
about
5 weeks ago?
Yeah. And
a month ago?
End of May.
And I brought it up at the time, and leading up to the schedule release, I was told by an NFL source, keep an eye on the first 4 weeks. And I said, okay. I didn't know if it was going to be NFC, AFC games, or it was going to be interdivision, whatever it was going to be. I just wanted to know what were some of those games, and could you take the first month of the season and put it on the back end of the season? That's what I was told. Just keep an eye on that. And then it came out, and I had some people say, hey, nice call. There was nothing attached to that. And my source said, yes, there is, because there are safety guidelines in place with the schedule. From what I'm told, and the source has stayed with this and said, no, they can lift the first month of the season and they can move it to the end of the regular season. They'll just move the Super Bowl, the playoff Super Bowl, be back a month. That's it. And so I maintain that because I trust my source on this. And I think the first game would be a Thursday night with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing. If that happens, maybe we get through this unscathed. Maybe there is football. Keep in mind, we're going to have preseason football in the first week of August. That's the Canton. That's the Hall of Fame game that they're still planning on playing. And you start to wonder, where are we going to be in August? Where are we going to be in September? You're looking at all these safety guidelines that the NBA is imposing right now. It's pretty incredible. Over 100 pages of safety guidelines for these players to go to Orlando and live in the bubble. I still wonder this because by September, I'm assuming we're having baseball. We're going to have teams playing in their home ballparks. I still go back to, do we need to be in Orlando for 3 months? Can we start there? And then after that, you get to the conference finals, and then you're able to play. Let's say it's Philadelphia versus Toronto or Milwaukee. The Lakers are playing the Rockets. And then you're in your own arenas. And it's easier to maintain that group of people, I think. You may not have fans in the stands, but if baseball's playing, now I know basketball, you got contact, but I'm dealing with less people there. And that's what I kept thinking. By the time we roll around to late September, could we have basketball games at Staples? Could we have basketball games in Milwaukee or in Toronto? And my guess is, yes, we will be, but I haven't heard anything to the contrary on that. There were some of these guidelines that came out. These are some of the weirder guidelines that came out. Adrian Wojnarowski. My favorite detail in the 113-page health and safety protocol for Orlando, shared with teams in the past several minutes, no doubles in ping pong. Until directed otherwise by the NBA, players should play singles only so they can maintain 6 feet of distance from each other. Zach Lowe covering the NBA. Players and team staff will be given the option of using a wearable ring that tracks heart rate, respiration rate, and other variables, and an illness probability score that indicates a player might be at greater risk of contracting coronavirus. Zach Lowe also says, yeah, Paul.
Can we wear those all the time as humans? I would like to know if I'm about to be sick or about to get the flu, or that'd be fantastic. Do they have these?
I don't know if you can Google it.
And are they in the NBA store? I would love to get a nice Raptors sickness band.
The NBA, does Amazon have this? See if Amazon has this. Let's see. Here's another one. NBA health protocols concede maintaining 6 feet of distance during card games may not be practical. Players and staff must dispose of the deck of cards at the end of each game or session. Quote, sufficient packs of cards will be available. Zach Lowe goes on to write, we are not currently contemplating allowing pets on campus, so no pets. What if I need my emotional dog? What if LeBron had a little poodle that he had to take? It's his comfort dog that he takes with him. Yeah, Paulie.
How about all bongs have to be at least 6 feet? So when you hand it to someone, you grab the top and then the bottom, and there's a 6 foot radius between when you pass the seat.
If you have the 6-footer, you would technically be 2 arms lengths away.
Safety first.
Think that would be acceptable.
Do they have a hookah room down there? Because
Too close. You're going to need the hoses on that hookah to be a lot longer. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it feels like they're setting up things for, the players and their families to be able to do. Lawn games. But I don't know. Do you have a separate room? I don't know what are the marijuana laws? Because they're not testing for marijuana down in Orlando in the bubble. But you can't smoke in your room. But do they have a smoking lounge there? There's a players-only lounge. I don't know what you get to do in there. The champagne, is there a champagne room? Yeah, McLovin.
Yeah, they set up all these activities that are sort of focused on 8-year-olds, like ping pong and like a movie room. When I was 24, that really wasn't top of mind for me. The activity, they have like an ice cream parlor. It's not a 9-year-old's birthday party. It's a league. This is all insane.
Are there going to be ponies? Is there going to be a clown? Are there going to be balloons?
Petting zoo?
Yeah.
By the way,
I do not
want the 76ers staying in the hotel with the special ice cream bar because Joel cannot have that down there.
Wow, that's a shock.
They should call the emergency hotline when Joel breaks into the ice cream. That's terrible.
We'll strike that from the rear. Yes, McLovin.
Can I ask a question? Going back.
You just did.
Another one.
You just did.
So baseball, Dr. Fauci says they should end by the end of September, and football is like, we don't want to start to the beginning of October. Does anyone see some inconsistency? What is going on?
I don't know if anybody knows what's going on. Because, some of these states, Florida, Texas, open for business, and now all of a sudden they got the hot spots and the spikes here. And here we are trying to put people in a bubble in Orlando, and then there's going to be football. We're going to have baseball games, and okay. All right. I'm cautiously optimistic with the emphasis on cautiously. Yes, Eden.
And why are these other leagues around the world able to open up at their own home stadiums and play home and away games? They're not all locked into like Euro Disney.
I don't know.
Something like that.
I don't know.
Why does the NBA have to be in a bubble?
That's what I want to know. That's why I look at what's going to happen with the NFL, what's going to happen with baseball, soccer, and here we are with basketball, and they got to be, under the bubble. Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said earlier, that it seems like the teams could be on lockdown at their home bases and go from their private jet to their private hotel, private bus to the game. But I wonder if the NBA thinks we can't take any chances. We must have an NBA Finals, and the bubble will ensure that we get to the finals. These other leagues may run into issues if there's down the road, but I think they're trying to ensure they complete the season. And it's going to be not pretty down there in Orlando. There's going to be a lot of whining and a lot of complaints, but us at home will get to see a 7-game series.
I'm looking at this NFL schedule, back to what I said about removing that first month of the regular season. If this happens, and Albert Breer was on radio saying that he's already heard from teams saying they want to push back the first month of the regular season. Kansas City would be a Thursday night game. This is first week of the season. Kansas City, New England, Washington, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati, the Giants, that's a night game, Denver, a night game. Those games would now be played, in cold weather climate. So these are cold weather teams that would be playing home games that week. We would be moving that towards the back end of the regular season. So week 1 would actually be played in January. Kansas City's cold, New England's cold, D.C. cold, Baltimore, Buffalo's cold, Cincinnati, the Giants, Denver. All of these games where you're going to be playing these teams in these cities, now all of a sudden it's going to be even more of a home field advantage for those teams. If it happens, I know, I'm Danny Downer sometimes. I'm just putting that out there if this happens. Yes, Seton O'Connor?
I'm sure they've looked into this already with the NBA. But doesn't it seem like putting 7 or 8 NBA teams all in the same hotel where they're all breathing the same recirculated air be an incredibly effective way to spread it through the league as quickly as possible?
Well, they're not all staying in the same the hotel, right? Isn't it how you're seated? So you got 3 huge hotels.
Right, but you're going to have 5 hotels in each team or something like that? What did the list say?
So you have 3 hotels for 22 teams? Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I saw. 3 hotels. There's like the Grand Floridian, the Yacht Club, and another one. And the Yacht Club, I guess, is the bronze medal of the 3 nice hotels because that's where the weakest teams are all staying. Like Blazers and Suns and Kings are all Yacht Club.
Yeah, so you're going to have all of those teams all in the same hotel. You're going to have the Lakers, the Bucks, the whatever, all staying in the same place. It seems like it potentially could be an effective way to the entire association.
Details. You're
I'm sure they looked
nitpicking.
into that.
Of course they have. If they looked into lawn charts here, I mean, they've looked into everything. They've looked into, once you play a card game, you have to get rid of the deck of cards here. I'm going to assume they looked into that.
How do you navigate the elevators in that place? Where that's supposed to be one of the worst places you could be. Aside from a public restroom, I think elevators are supposed to be one of the worst places. What are you going to go 2 at a time in the elevator with all of those people?
Plus, those are some big men.
Yeah.
That's where the door shuts. Somebody says, "Hold the elevator," and you're like, "No,
hell no."
Sorry, sorry, LeBron. I didn't see you. Yeah, Fritzy.
And then they're talking about like the constant soaking of these basketballs, which doesn't make any sense because as soon as it goes into play, with every single possession, they're going to change basketball.
Have we settled social distancing at first base when you're leading off first base? Like, are we encouraging you to lead off? Like, you must lead off 6 feet? See, I was going to try to get through the first segment without mentioning baseball, and I couldn't do it.
There'll be a lot of pickoffs.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Yeah, McLevin.
That's one of my favorite parts of the game, when the guy gets to first base and he has that friendly chatter with the first baseman.
Yeah.
What do they talk about? Have you asked Gracie that before?
It can be the most mundane thing. It's just you're trying to make conversation. Hey, how you doing? How's family? Hey, man. Hey, got a couple of rips up there. Yeah, Tom.
Is some of it a distraction, though, as they're about to get picked off first base? I'm sure there's a little bit of gamesmanship, not caring so much about how their parents or their children are doing or something.
Do you just let them have 6 feet, a 6-foot lead, and you can't throw over to first base? Because if you throw over, then I got to go back to the first baseman there. What do they do in the Korean baseball league? I know they got masks on.
No, they don't. When they're playing baseball, they can't have a mask on when you're playing baseball. You die.
Well, you might not die.
Well, yeah, you would because carbon monoxide. You can't exercise with a mask on.
Oh, people run all the time with masks on.
It's very dangerous.
No, people jog all the time with the mask on.
Yeah, it's very, very dangerous.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you. Yes, McLevin.
Yeah, I jog with a cotton mask and I pull it down under my nose, and it's horrible. But that is I'm looking. The Korean guys take off the mask when they're on the field for the most part, but on the sidelines they're definitely wearing masks.
But like third base, first base coaches, they have the mask on there.
Yeah,
yes, Todd.
Aren't you supposed to cover your nose and your mouth? I'm kind of with Paul. That seems like you're going to pass out pretty soon if you're running with that thing on, especially in any kind of warm weather. I don't know how you do that.
Well, I'm just asking about the Korean Baseball League, Todd. It's not. We're not going to do an expose.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, McLevin.
NBA did lay out the refs don't have to wear masks, the players don't have to wear masks. The first row of coaches do not. The second row of coaches absolutely do. They have like 100 pages on who wears masks.
Oh my God,
it's gonna be tough.
I can't wait for the 30 for 30 on this. And I don't know if it would be like a month that we would do a 30 for 30 on this. Is this a 10-part series? If we gave Jordan 10 parts, I'm assuming we were going to give, the entire, this calendar year of sports. And do people want to relive it? I don't know. Yeah, McLevin.
Is the NFL going to have a 200-page guideline as well? I haven't seen it yet. I mean, how are they going to possibly set up guidelines for their sport?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that information is not out yet because I've asked a source on that because I joked and said, all right, let's see you top this. I'm assuming it's got to be twice as long as the NBA guidelines because the NFL, you got 53 to 60 players out there on each team. You got all the staffs. I'm like, you got, 3 or 4 times the number of people for each team. So the NFL's got to come up with 226 pages at least with the safety guidelines. All right, let me take a break. I want to talk to Chris Haynes. He covers the NBA. Get his thoughts on all of this here. And Bill Burr's in the new movie, The King of Staten Island, with Pete Davidson. Does a great job. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going into the Hall of Fame, NASCAR Hall of Fame. He'll join us coming up a little bit later on. We'll settle on a poll question when we return 20 after the hour. This is The Dan Patrick Show. LifeLock is always here to help you, and there's so many different stories now. Microsoft is warning that phishing emails, which appear to be coming from the Johns Hopkins Center, are trying to trick people to open up an attachment disguised as a COVID-19 report. Then it downloads a file and gives hackers access to your personal computer. Nobody can prevent all identity theft, but it's important to understand if you lose your identity, if it's stolen from you, it is difficult to get back. LifeLock detects a wide range of identity threats like your social security number for sale on the dark web. If they detect your information has potentially been compromised, they'll send you an alert. You have access to a dedicated restoration specialist to your case should you become a victim. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. LifeLock sees threats you might miss on your own. Join now. Save up to 25% off your first year with the promo code Patrick. 1-800-LifeLock or head to LifeLock.com. Promo code Patrick for up to 25% off. There were so many times when we would just laugh so hard. Remember when you were doing my show with me? We had Rob Dibble doing it, and when we had Mickey Rivers on.
Dan, I'll tell you something, Dan. Yeah, the greatest thing about that, you're interviewing him, and Mickey comes on.
I can't understand him.
No, nobody can. And you look at me and say, well, we're going to have to cut this interview off. And he's such an exuberant guy, you know. We talk, and I want to cry laughing now because I lost 12 pounds that day laughing. And so Dan says, Sean, we're going to have to cut it off. So Mick's going, and Dan says, well, Mickey, remember the time when Bucky used your bat? And I talked to Bucky, and Dan hits the tape, you know, about a taped interview with Bucky Dent. Mickey's interviewing Bucky while the taped interview's going.
He thinks Bucky's there.
He thinks Bucky's sitting next to us. Hey, Bucky, remember? Yeah, man, we use that bat, man. Yeah, but... And so we're going through it, and Dan's looking at me like, well, he's interviewing Bucky, but Bucky's on tape. And he goes, we got to cut the interview off. So the tape plays, and then Dan looks at me, and Dan's about, well, Mickey, thanks. We appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your story. And I chime in and say, hey, Mickey, remember your relationship with Reggie Jackson? How was he in the dugout? And Dan...
I looked at you. And
Dan said, hit the 7-second delay button, looked at me like, what are you doing? And then he went on for 8 more minutes, and it pretty much interviewed Reggie Jackson
I think he thought Reggie was there, too. But the fact that Bucky Dent hit the home run, the Yankees beat the Red Sox in, 1978. He uses Mickey's bat and hits the home run there. And so when Bucky is telling me about using his bat, and there's Mickey going, Bucky, it's Mickey. And I'm going, oh, my God, he thinks it's a taped interview there. Oh, my God.
You see the team,
wait, here.
So, you know, you
it was, did I have more priceless moments?
One move, more less to be just okay, guy.
Wait. Can you get Sean's headphones there, right behind there? We have Mickey Rivers here. I'm going to let you hear Mickey Rivers.
So what if I start interviewing Mickey now? Is he on?
Yes. So, all right, two-a-days. Hit this. This is 2004 Mickey Rivers from the Yankees.
You see the team is going to be a land, so, you know, you just want to get a social pick one move, more less to be just okay, guy.
I don't know what he said.
Now, I want somebody, if you could translate that, I quit and retire, man.
But if you have closed caption on that, could you imagine the person who's got to do that on the screen?
He would come out like asterisk signs.
Yeah, who knows? Oh.
And so exuberant and such an energetic guy. I'm sitting here saying translation. But he was and Mickey knew he was talking to the world, too, man. Everybody got it. That was a fun time.
Didn't he get arrested? Or, no, Mickey...
Oh, nice segue, Dan.
No. Didn't Mickey go through a toll booth in New York on his phone?
Mickey was doing the interview, and he was on the toll booth, and the policeman at the toll booth said, you got to put your phone away. He goes, I'm on the phone with Mr. Steinbrenner. And he tried to say that he was on the phone with Steinbrenner while he's on the phone with you.
So we had Dan, Sean, Mickey, Reggie, Bucky
George
and Mr. Steinbrenner on at the same time. And it actually sounded like it.
Talk some basketball with Chris Haynes from Yahoo Sports here in a moment. McLovin, what kind of poll question do you have for me?
So we want to do something off the NBA. If you were a player, would you? A couple questions.
Okay.
Would you bring your family?
No.
Okay. Would you want to go and leave your family if you had a young family at home? I think that's a.
Of course not. But I'm an NBA player. I have to go.
Oh, what do you mean? Of course not. I was thinking it's a no-brainer.
Well,
Of
no,
course you want to go.
I'm saying it publicly.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to. Stay
yeah.
with me here. Yes, Paulie.
But can my family enjoy the parks? If they enjoyed the parks, I think the parks will be open. They can't come back to the suite and hang with you.
No, because you're going to be out there with everybody else.
So if you brought your family, they'd basically be sitting in a really nice suite at Disney, not going to Disney parks, which would be even worse than, staying home.
No, you can't. No, I don't want my family there. What else do you have, McLovin?
Yeah, Paulie worded it. Spending 2 months at Disney, eating great food, playing basketball, and hanging out with your cards. Is that something you're interested in? Okay. I have a hard-hitting one. More handsome, old Tom Brady or new Tom Brady?
I can't get to this yet.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that is. I want to get back to that.
Yeah, we have
I
picked.
want to get back to that.
I'm not letting you off the hook that easy, Dan Patrick.
Oh my God! All right, let me bring in Chris Haynes. I apologize to Chris if he had to listen to that. Yahoo Sports NBA senior insider who joins us now. Chris, good morning. How's morale?
Good morning, DP. Morale, as far as the NBA goes, I think people are optimistic. It seemed like the traction seemed like there was traction, good traction actually a couple weeks ago. Then it seemed like that was deterred a little bit last week, but yesterday it seemed like the league is doing everything in its power to try to reassure to the players that things will be safe and that it's in their best interest to go over there in Orlando and resume play.
Why do I have to be there for 3 months if you're the elite teams are going to play for a title? It feels like other sports are going to be playing in their home stadiums. Why couldn't I have the Eastern Conference, Western Conference to be played in those 4 cities? And then you have, an NBA championship.
I think this is the best way to assure that the players, look, there's players out there that were really hesitant, even prior to the George Floyd tragedy, and the racial tension that we've had since then. The players were really reluctant to resume play, just because of the unknowns of the COVID virus. You had stars speaking up on is it even necessary? I spoke to CJ McCollum of the Portland Trailblazers. He was like, when the league opened up the practice facilities back up, he was saying, like, he told me, like, look, man, we got all these restrictions, at the practice facility. I got to be 6 feet away from my trainer while I'm getting spotted. How do you lift properly doing that? And if we have all these restrictions going back to just working out, like, is it even worth it to be playing? So I think the league did it this way to try to, make sure that they have the best and safest measures possible to try to get the confidence of the players. And so I think that's why they resorted to just having it in an isolated city.
If I gave the NBA a do-over, what do you think Adam Silver would do?
I think it would do the same, DP. There are significant financial ramifications for not resuming the season for the players and the league. And you already have the Daryl Morey tweet that set the league really back as far as finances go. So I don't think he changes anything. He's been really adamant from day one that he wants to get the season restarted. And for the most part, he has the majority of the players in agreement with him. So I don't think much will change at all.
Yeah, and I also wondered about these teams that, the Bucks and Lakers earn home court advantage, but nobody's going to have a home court advantage in Orlando. And I know that they toyed with some ideas, some maybe rules for that. But as you know now, there is no advantage for the teams that have home court advantage.
As of right now, but the player associations are still negotiating with the league on some of the rules and protocol that's going to occur down there in Orlando. So I wouldn't be surprised if some gimmicks are raised and some gimmicks are approved. I don't know what you can do for a true home court advantage. There was talk about installing a court. The Lakers, Bucks bringing one of their courts, but we all know a true home court advantage is not true if you don't have your fans there rooting for you, providing that momentum and that extra spark. So I don't know what really can be done, honestly, to make sure that the top seed has an advantage in the game. I don't like, giving the ball up to, somebody else 3 times, when you start in each quarter, just have the jump ball and do it the natural way. You don't want to, like Michael Jordan raised concerns in this call when the owners call with Adam Silver. It's like, you don't want to gimmick it up. Like, just keep it simple.
We're talking to Chris Haynes, Yahoo Sports NBA senior insider. If people didn't know what Kyrie Irving was addressing the last week, how would you sum up what Kyrie has been credited or accused of here in the last week or so?
Well, he's been accused of being a distraction, disruptor, going against the union and, all of that, but, that call, the call that he organized last Friday, it was a really unifying call. There were, it was a platform to give younger players a voice who ordinarily wouldn't have a voice or who felt that like they couldn't speak up in meetings prior. And it was a turnout of, 80 plus players. And that's something that the Players Union hasn't seen in quite some time when it comes to their meetings and their Zoom calls. And so, Kyrie Irving, he expressed, his concerns, and he said he had no aspirations to go over there in Orlando. Dwight Howard was in agreement, Avery Bradley, Carmelo Anthony to an extent. Donovan Mitchell raised concerns about his situation being up for an extension this summer.
But does Kyrie want to start a new league, Chris? Is that?
I haven't heard that, DP. I haven't heard that. I can't confirm that.
Okay.
But there's rumors that he's always said that. So but I can't confirm if he said that recently.
Is he calculated or crazy?
I wouldn't say crazy. I wouldn't go crazy, DP, because I'm not a medical professional. But I'll say, look, Kyrie has always been. I've covered Kyrie in Cleveland when I was a beat writer for Cleveland Plain Dealer, and for me, he was the toughest guy that I've ever had to cover. Just trying to figure him out. 1 minute everything's cool, and next minute, he acts like he doesn't know you or whatever. But he's always been fair to me. I would say that. But look, is he going against the grain? Absolutely. That that wasn't a Players Association sanctioned call. Last week, because if it was, Chris Paul would have organized it. So, and Kyrie is the VP of the Players Association. So this is, this is going against the grain a little bit. But it was a good call overall last week.
Now, there's a snitch hotline in Orlando that if you see somebody doing something where they're putting other people at risk, it's not called the snitch hotline, right? And can you imagine all these people saying, I saw LeBron or I saw the Greek Freak, and all of a sudden the commissioner he suspends LeBron for a game for endangering other people here because of the snitch hotline?
Well, I got a few things to say about that, DP. If it's not officially called a snitch hotline, it's going to be officially called that. That's what it's going to be. And second, I expect that hotline to ring like crazy if there are violations. They want to win. They want to win.
Wait a minute. You think that somebody would snitch? You think that Joel Embiid's going to call the snitch hotline 1-800-NARC and say that the Greek Freak, I saw him out, and where he shouldn't be?
DP, if a player saw LeBron James hop the fence to do whatever, that buzzer will ring. You don't think they got opportunity to take LeBron James out for a week or so?
Would you snitch? Would you snitch on Adrian Wojnarowski? If it helped your career, would you snitch on Shams?
I'm not snitching.
Okay.
I'm not snitching.
Okay.
Because I don't want them to snitch on me when I jump the fence.
I still love these. Some of the no pets. If you have card games, we have to have singles, ping pong games. We throw away the cards after
Yeah.
And are they allowed to smoke pot down there? Because they're not testing, Chris.
Yeah, and that's I was going to look into that, DP. They're not testing.
I'll bet you were.
I was going to look into that.
I'll spend a couple days doing that.
I'm curious, DP. And then, DP, you talking about some of the safety measures that they're taking. And so, like, as soon as they finish, you know, obviously they're not wearing face masks, you know, while they're playing. But as soon as they leave that arena, face mask on all the time. You know, it's okay while you're playing on the court, you know, sweating up against everybody, rubbing on against everybody. But as soon as you step off the court, face masks all the time.
I didn't know if they would just have a pot room, because they have, you know, all these different rooms set up for people, and you just, hey, six feet of distance, you sponsor it. Doritos sponsors it, and Taco Bell, and you just let everybody go in there and spark up. And since they're not testing for this.
Well, you know, I can say this. If that's the case, DP, and I don't think that'll be the case, if that's the case, we're going to have a different brand of basketball that we're accustomed to watching.
Final score will be 44-42. Are you going Are you going to Orlando? Are you going down?
That's the plan.
Wow. What hotel do you get to stay in?
Oh, I'm pretty sure, you know, whatever scrub hotel they have left. You know, look, the media is the last thing, you know, the Basketball Writers Association has been negotiating with the league on how is it going to work for us. It's going to be different to a few tiers, but they haven't gotten back to us in time and fashion. I understand we were low on the totem pole, but, you know, I expect, you know, whatever hotel they got tucked in the corner, or motel, that is, you know.
You might get a motel. You're not going to get a
motel. That's what I'm saying.
But what access are the writers going to have to these players aside from the games themselves?
As far as I know, there will be the tier. I forgot the tier name, but there'll be a tier that's on campus, and they'll have the access that they would have is, you know, they'll be at the press conference, but still, you know, you have the 6 feet rule protocol. So you'll have some access, you know, with social distance, proper social distance measures being on campus. And now the ones that's in Orlando off campus, they're allowed to go to the games, but then they have to leave, you know, automatically after that. And then they have Zoom press conferences. And so the thing is, with that tier, DP, I'm telling you, in a lot of ways, I want to be a part of that tier, because there's no restriction. You're outside the bubble. Yeah. You know, they get to go and leave as they please, you know, go to a club or do whatever. You know, other tier on campus, you know, you're restricted, confined. But, you know, it'll be real interesting to see how the league comes up with the protocol for the media who can't be over there in Orlando. And they want to cover the Lakers, but they can't afford the cost, because I know it's going to be expensive. So it has to be some incentive for a media to be out there in Orlando, to give them some proper great access that they wouldn't get if they weren't there.
And Harden loves the 6 feet separation, especially on defense. Like, he's going to love, because he plays defense that way anyway, right?
Yeah, well, you could say that, DP. He has improved, but I tell you right now, DP, you talking about why it was in Orlando and not in their home cities for some of the playoff rounds. I tell you right now, if this thing was in Vegas, DP, which I was all in favor of,
sure you were.
You were really had some concerns about all those things you said. When you talking about whatever, you know, there's some players who are known to, you know, be hitting the club throughout the week. You know what I mean? You think social distancing measures will really be in play in Las Vegas? So, you know, Orlando was the ideal fit.
Stay in touch, Chris.
No snitching, DP.
No snitching. Chris, right. No snitching Haynes, Yahoo Sports NBA insider. Thank you, Chris. Be safe. We'll take a break. Play of the day is up next. You're pretty sharp at 6:30 in the morning. Are you still up from last night?
No, I'm not. You know that. You know, I tried, partying with Bill Murray one time, and then I went on the air that night. That, as you know, didn't work out real well for me. So,
refresh our memory. How banged up were you after you went out with Bill Murray?
I didn't feel banged up at all. In fact, I don't know that I ever felt better.
When did you know you were in trouble when you were on the air?
You know what? I didn't know it at all. I didn't even realize they had pulled the plug on me. I didn't know that. It was so funny. So he spends the night with me, right? And we drive to his course. This is about an hour away from San Diego, Palma Valley. We go up there, and I never turned my phone on. We played all day. We're sitting there having lunch, and all of a sudden I turned my cell phone on, and smoke was coming out of that thing. I'm going, oh, boy. Well, I had a text message, and I'm asking everybody out there, if you had a message from your wife to call her or your agent, Barry Axelrod, who, ASAP, I mean, who you guys going to call? Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly right. Well, my first thought was something had happened to my grandpa, because, I was raised by him. And when Barry told me that, do you know what's going on out there? I thought, I lost my grandpa. And he goes, I said, is Grandpa okay? He goes, yeah, he's fine. He goes, but you're all over the world. And I go, for what? I mean, I don't know that at that point I even knew that I'd gone on the air, but it actually turned out kind of great. You know Norby Williamson better than I do.
Yeah.
Norby was great. I had to call him, and he goes, we've been trying to get a hold of you. And I said, I know, I'm sorry. He goes, if you ever do that again and don't call me, he says, you're in trouble. And I got a little upset. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And what he was talking about was, if you ever play golf with Bill Murray again and you don't call me, he said you're in trouble. So I got a week off, which, it was kind of embarrassing, but we're back at it now.
The Buccaneers released their new uniforms, or they re-released them with Tom in them.
Should we give a not safe for work warning? Because if we're going where I think we're going,
I'll just say this: if you have protective lenses to put in front of your eyes,
you might want to shield.
You know how when you're a kid and you look at the eclipse and they tell you to look at like a box when with the light, so you don't burn out your retinas. You've been warned.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think he's transitioned to a more rugged phase of an older Tom.
It kind of reminds me of a hybrid of Brett Favre and like Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, like he kind of looks old now.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old.
Skin is morphing
into
Buccaneers colors.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 3 different uniforms. A lot of people. It's more of a deeper bronze, gray, steel. I don't know what the color. Pewter, but it's.
That's not a real. That's an American Football Alliance one in the middle, but that stare is just distracting. That's blue steel right there in the middle, right?
So
that's an 11-5 divisional playoff game. Look,
though I was thinking years from now, are we going to look back and say, man, remember that run he had there? That was really cool. Kind of like Favre in Minnesota. It looked weird, but then he got them pretty deep.
Yeah.
But then I went back and looked at other uniforms of players who played in a different uniform in their career. And there's lots of them. But the ones I found where I was like, oh no.
Oh dear.
What is going on?
Why would anyone do that to Patrick?
That's not real. That's Photoshop.
I know. That's what I thought.
That's not.
And then I found this one. Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't like seeing that.
I mean, and then I found this one, which I don't even know. I may have to go home. Patrick Ewing in a Magic uniform. What bizarre world is this? Is this like a TV show?
Yeah.
Ewing against Akeem.
Yeah. Always happens.
Horrible jerseys. Magic weren't that bad, but I mean, still.
Yeah, it's like he was cast in a movie or something to play.
Like, they retired 4 years ago.
Is this an after-school special?
They came back to do a movie.
Sticking around too long factor is what happens.
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day.
Check this out.
Pierce turns back out. Rondo fakes, dribbles, puts up the three. Won't go. Rebound to Soul. Kicks it out to Odom. Odom throws it ahead. The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers, the 2010 NBA champions.
Great call by Mike Breen, ABC. 10 years ago today, Kobe and the Lakers repeat, beating the Celtics in 7 games. That title is the last title the organization has won to date. Play of the day brought to you by LegalZoom. Need to make it legal? Make it LegalZoom.com. You get advice. They have attorneys there, network of independent attorneys. They can help you navigate the legal waters there. Visit LegalZoom.com today for more information. I saw where Bill Russell was tweeting. I never thought I would ever say that sentence, but Bill Russell, the great Bill Russell, was tweeting. And Kendrick Perkins, who usually has something to say, he was talking about LeBron being the greatest athlete to ever play in the NBA, I believe. And then Bill Russell tweeted a picture of him high jumping and then a video of him going full court while he's dribbling to take it down to shoot a layup. And he was basically saying, maybe LeBron's not the greatest athlete who's ever played in the NBA. LeBron at his size and speed, could have played other sports. Bill Russell was a very good athlete. He could have been an Olympic high jumper. The greatest athlete is probably Wilt Chamberlain, because Wilt was not only big, but he was mobile. He could run. He was an incredible beach volleyball player. He could have been, an Olympic athlete in probably a couple of different things, the long jump or the high jump. Wilt was an incredible athlete. There have been great athletes there. I mean, Vince Carter is a great athlete. Michael Jordan, obviously, a great athlete. Allen Iverson, great athlete. So I don't know if you can. I love that Bill Russell is kind of pushing to be involved in the conversation there. I thought it was playful that he was doing that, just to say, we love to look at today, now, but don't forget, I was a pretty good athlete. Yes, he.
Just one quick update on a story we've been following. According to my sources, medical marijuana allowed in Florida, but even small amounts, like 20 grams and under, illegal.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Medical marijuana, though, you're in.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, McLevin.
How awesome is it that 86-year-old Bill Russell is firing away on social media, by the way? Can you just send him with his phone? That's great.
I think it's great. Well, he might be dictating to somebody. To say, hey, I got a tweet for you. Tell these guys, these young whippersnappers, I was a pretty good athlete. And he was. He was a great athlete back then. But there are great athletes all around in all sports nowadays. Yeah, Paul.
It'd be funny if Bill Russell was the opposite. He's sitting there on social media all day, playing video games, eating bad food, sitting on the couch. Like he's old. What else has he got to do? He's doing the opposite of what we think he's doing.
Yes,
he's on Twitch all day because he's a big gamer.
He's got a headset on, yelling at kids. I'm Bill Russell, damn it.
Yeah. You got some, snot-nosed 13-year-old playing, hey, Dad, I got this old guy, Bill Russell, says he's a great athlete or something. We're playing World of Warcraft.
I got more rings than you have years, kid.
I'm killing him.
Yeah, that's his handle is Got Rings.
Yeah.
He keeps blocking me.
Instead of Got Milk, Got Rings.
Yeah, Got Rings.
Zzz, with a Z.
He blocks a lot of people on Twitter.
Oh,
though.
I see what you did. I did. I got that. Thank you, McLovin. That's well done.
I'm just assuming he's a big block shot. Yeah.
Yeah, he blocked a lot of shots in the day.
Didn't they all average like 27 rebounds a game back then, too?
Not quite that many, but you had guys who were averaging, 22, 23, 24 rebounds a game. But the shooting wasn't as good back then. Maybe you didn't squeeze off as many shots, but I don't know if you had as many contested rebounds back then. Now, nowadays, you have these offensive rebounders, and they made a living on being an offensive rebounder. I don't remember that being part of the NBA vernacular back then. Like Paul Silas, there were guys who were, but it was really, Moses Malone was the first guy I remember where we talked about, boy, he's a great defensive and offensive rebounder. Yeah, Paulie.
Bill Russell's worst season in the NBA, he averaged 19 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
That was his worst year.
Yes, McLevin.
The sabermetrics people only count contested rebounds because they don't want those Russell Westbrook, everyone clear out of the foul line so I could pad my stats, rebounds. And you all know that's true.
Wow.
Come on, the uncontested free throw miss layup, that rebound, that should not count as
And
a
you know
rebound.
what? Looking back in high school, I probably could have gotten maybe 3 or 4 more rebounds per game if I would have just done it off the free throw. But I wanted to get the ball out. Like, I wanted to be moving down the court. So when Tom Spaeth got the rebound, he'd throw it out to me, and I could take a couple of dribbles and let it fly. Yeah, McLeod.
I was always scared to be the lowest guy because there's nothing worse than getting out-rebounded on a foul shot by the guy to your right. I don't know if it ever – you were good, so it never happened to you. It happened to me all the time.
Yes, Paul.
Do you think the NBA gives more assists now than they did a generation ago? Because the definition of assist is that the pass directly leads to the score, that the pass assisted the guy. If you kick it out to a three-point shooter who's standing motionless, I don't know if that's an assist. In
No,
the spirit
because
of it.
I always thought that you had to create a scoring position for somebody to get an assist. And I think that they're a lot more lenient now. They're not quite like hockey that you can get it. You get an assist if you pass to somebody who passes to somebody, and they go, you get an assist there. Today is the anniversary of the 1986 NBA draft, maybe the most star-crossed draft in history. And I got a chance to cover that. Len Bias was the number 2 overall pick. He died days after the draft. 3 of the other top 7 also had drug issues: Chris Washburn, William Bedford, and Roy Tarpley. 3 players from the 1986 draft are in the Basketball Hall of Fame. This is a good question here. I did not know this. And they're not, you wouldn't consider them great all-around basketball players. Dennis Rodman, Arvydas Sabonis, and Drazen Petrovic. Now, Sabonis and Petrovic were really great internationally. Sabonis was great internationally. Petrovic, I loved him. He had good lift on his jumper. He wasn't afraid of anybody. He died in a car accident at the age of 28. In fact, Reggie Miller says Drazen was one of the toughest guys, toughest matchups that he ever had. And I loved his energy. He just ran all day. And Petrovic was a fun player. Yeah, McLevin.
Mark Price is on here, too. I just looked up. He's not in the Hall of Fame. I didn't
How
really
is
know that.
Mark Price not in the Hall of Fame?
I'm surprised. I don't think so. Maybe he's been in since I
He's got to be in the Hall of Fame.
Jeff Hornacek on here, too.
Horny? What a nickname.
Do you
Mark
remember,
Price not in the Hall of Fame.
Do you
How
remember?
is Mark Price not in the Basketball Hall of Fame? What he did at Georgia Tech? Wow. Yeah, McLevin.
This is the day Sixers basketball died. I don't know if you remember. We traded that number 1 pick.
That was Roy Hinson?
For Roy Hinson, for Brad Doherty, and traded Moses Malone the same day for Jeff Ruland, whose knees gave out afterwards.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Moses didn't have much left, but
No.
Charles talked recently about how he wanted to play with Doherty.
Mark Price is not in the Hall of Fame? Man. Because it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. And Price is one of the great shooters of all time. He was that one of those, he could shoot 90 from the line and 50 from the floor. I don't know how prevalent the three-point shot. I don't know what his three-point numbers are. Probably not that strong, but he had range. Mark Price not in the Hall of Fame. You have to start that campaign to get him into the Hall of Fame. All right, next hour coming up, we'll talk to the great comedian Bill Burr. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's going into the Hall of Fame, will join us. No statements, no offers, no talks between baseball and its union. I don't know if that's good or bad. I usually think when nobody's talking publicly, then they're talking privately. Who knows with baseball? Who knows with baseball? We'll settle on a poll question. Phone calls coming up. 877-3DP Show. 1 hour in the books. 2 more to go on this Wednesday. Also talking about the East-West Bowl game, where the player introductions.
Yeah.
Where'd the idea come from?
Okay, so we were sitting in the office one day, and Jordan says to me, he goes, he would play Madden all the time, and he was not a huge football fan. He wasn't a football fan, but he just happened to like Madden. And he said Keegan, did you know that there is an offensive lineman who plays for the New York Jets, and his name is DeBrickashaw Ferguson? And I went, oh, yeah. And he said, my man's name is DeBrickashaw. And I went, oh, my darling Jordan, that's the tip of the iceberg, bro. DeBrickashaw may as well be John Smith compared to some of the people out there playing football. So he was like, really? And I said, oh, yeah, check. Like, there are players who have very colorful names. So one day, 2 weeks later, a week later, I stroll into the office, and Danny just like this, he just hands me a script. And I take the script, and I'm just like, what's this? And I'm just going through, and there's this cavalcade of names. And I'm just going, okay, so let's just make this. When did you write this? He goes, oh, no, I was kind of toying around with it last night. Last night? And he said, and then I just had some thoughts. And then he wrote the whole thing. And I think maybe, I can't remember, maybe I contributed Dan Smith, the guy who went to BYU at the end. But other than that, he wrote every single one of those names.
And then you had Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dix.
As Clinton Dix.
Frosty Rucker, Ismaili Kitchen, and DeBrickashaw. DeBrickashaw did that for us. And then somebody else. Ismaili Kitchen is a fantastic name. That is a fantastic name. Silverberry Mouton. I applaud, and this is not even sarcasm. I applaud the imagination of these women. Because they want their babies to be individuals in the world. Now, there are some people I think who have names where it's kind of hard to live up to a name. I mean, it's something. If you're going to name your child Peerless Price, that's the name. That's like something. That's like you came out of the womb with a goal.
God Sham God.
God Sham God was the one I was trying to think of. God Sham God. Yeah. Hey, the name. You've got something to aspire to.
But then you came up with McCringleberry.
Yeah, so Jordan came up with it. Jordan made sure to put in schools that were important to me. So he put in Wayne State, he put in Adams State, he put in Penn State. And when I went to go do our homecoming a couple years ago, I had a McCringleberry jersey, and it was insane. It was absolutely insane. It's really the love that I get from my alma mater is really.
But was Antonio Brown imitating McCringleberry when he got flagged the 3-pump?
The funny thing about his 3-pump is he was doing a back 3-pump, right? So he's doing.
Okay, here we go. There we go.
And McCringleberry's doing.
That was a reverse.
Pause it. And I was like, okay, Antonio, you get points for creativity there for doing the and double reversed it. But you know who did it? It was Kenny Britt and Lance Moore. They for real did it. Lance Moore was the first one to really do it. Scored a touchdown. Kenny Britt runs next to him, takes his diaper, right? And he stands there. He did the form was perfect. And Kenny Britt even threw the flag, which was
You should go
I'll pay their fine. Jordan and I paid Von Miller's fine because he had perfect form on the 3-pump.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
The respect for our country, the people who fought for those freedoms, the people who protect us here and abroad, I think those are very important.
We should have listened to our players earlier, including Colin Kaepernick, including Eric Reid, including Kenny Stills, and so many others.
Perception has changed. The landscape has changed. The NFL didn't have an epiphany where they go, you know what, on second thought, it feels like there's a part of the commissioner that's saying, do I just want to be known as a guy who made a lot of money for the owners here? He's Mark Gray's former Cub, Diamondback, All-Star first baseman. How are you not tempted to use steroids?
I'm going to give you the honest answer, Dan. I was a single man in Chicago, and that stuff is bad for your get up and go, if you know what I mean.
Just explain it to me.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
Wait till you see what I do on steroids.
This is Dan Patrick.
Hour 2 on this Wednesday, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. We'll spend some time with the great comedian Bill Burr. He's in the new movie, Pete Davidson movie. It's called The King of Staten Island. He'll join us coming up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. heading into the Hall of Fame. Jr. will join us coming up in a little while as well. If you'd like to get in touch with the program, email, tweet. You can also dial us up, 877-3DP-SHOW. Say good morning to our great radio partners, numbering 362 cities around America, and also youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. There were reports yesterday that 6 or maybe up to 8 MLB owners don't want to play this season. The reason seems to be strictly financial, but still, can you imagine owning a baseball team and not wanting to see your team play? Isn't that the whole point here? I understand some owners, especially in small markets, might really need that cash flow, and they don't want to lose money on this upcoming season. But underneath it all, it's not supposed to be about the money. If you're rich, you buy a team because you love baseball. You love the sport. I don't think the public thinks that's the case, because it looks like these owners are just looking at the bottom line, and this is not for the betterment of baseball or the fan base here. This is about haves and the have-nots, whether it's the owners with a lot of money or it's players who are going to make a lot of money. And then you have the smaller markets, and then you have a majority of the baseball players who don't make more than $1 million. They need to come back and play baseball. I don't know if there's going to be a season. I assume there will be. I do think there is and I know that there's conspiracy theorists out there. And I spoke to one yesterday, but he's in the baseball world. And I said, what's going on here? Trying to understand, the commissioner is going to have order everybody to come back. And he said, there is a strategic timeline that will unfold here, and you'll see exactly what the commissioner has in mind. I go, wait, what does that mean? It's going to be a strategically placed start of the season, end of the season, start date, end date, and you're going to get a 50-game schedule probably. I said, okay. And then he said, look, I know you've been negative about baseball and you call yourself Danny Downer, but think of this. Every team that plays has a chance. When's the last time you started a baseball season where you went, we don't have more than 4 or 5 teams that can win it all? Every team will have a chance because of it's only 50 games. And I said, well, doesn't every team have a chance every year when they start the season? He goes, yeah, but after a while, the cream rises to the top, and the teams that have the most money, talent, they're able to go out and pick up somebody. They can trade for somebody, and these smaller markets can't. I said, I understand it. I believe that's just called baseball, but the 50-game schedule, and, this guy said, hey, trust me, it's going to be a photo finish. It'll be great. Get baseball back. And I go, okay, how about we just get baseball back? Right? Doesn't it this feels like, hey, you know what? We're going to have the New York City Marathon, and it starts on the 21st mile. It's going to be great. Everybody's got a chance to win. Okay. Everybody's going to be bunched up here, going to the finish line. All right. So that's all I have. That's all I know, and that's somebody who admits that they're a conspiracy theorist. They think the commissioner has this mapped out exactly when he is going to start the season. And I went, okay. And he's going to have, it's a 50-game schedule. And I said, okay. But that's all I know. And I promised you I wouldn't waste your time in, ranting and raving and criticizing the players and the owners and the commissioner. I wanted something where at least I could try to move it forward the best I can. And that's all I got for you today. Because nobody knows anything. And that's scary. I'm not talking about baseball insiders. It feels like the owners and the players and the commissioner and the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, I don't know if they know anything. I would just say to the commissioner, and I don't know if Mike Greenberg said this when he had Commissioner Fest on the mothership the other night. I don't know if that's the official title.
We're checking.
Welcome to Commissioner Fest. If you say to the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, hey, how about you and Tony Clark, who head up the Baseball Players Association, get in the same room, just you two. And if you want to have a mediator, we can do that. We can have a marriage counselor in there. And they're just going to help you inch closer and closer to what is real. How about that? I would ask the commissioner, and we've asked for him, by the way, but I would say, why can't you just get in the room with Tony Clark, the head of the Baseball Players Association? Just you two. And you're not, if I got in an argument with my brother, my younger brother, my mom would lock us in a room and say, figure it out, and then I'll let you guys out. Of course, we got to hit each other with sticks and things like that, but I don't know if, the commissioner and the head of the Players Association would be allowed to do that. But, we'd eventually settle it and we'd walk out. But, at least have a game plan. And I'm told there is a game plan, believe it or not, and it's a heavy-handed game plan by the commissioner, is what I was told. I said, okay, all right. And my source said, I'll hopefully have other details for you today. And he said, look, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is what is being talked about, that he has a timeline of when there's going to be a season. I said, okay. All right, I'll play naive again. I'm good at that. I'll just go, okay, we're going to have baseball here. But I think we're going to have maybe 50 games. What is happening with these 6 or 8 owners? And I heard it wasn't that many owners, but there were 2 to 3 owners who said, why would we come back? All we do is we're going to lose money. We're not going to be in the playoffs, and we're going to lose money because there's no fans here. And that's why they don't want to restart the season. And I understand that. These are 2 or 3 small market teams, owners. I get that. But the other owners, they're going to get into the postseason, and they're going to make money. Baseball just signed this long-term deal with TNT, and that's all about the postseason. I try not to pick sides with it because every day it feels like I'm changing sides. I'm just trying to illuminate you on some of the things that I've heard or my feelings on this, having covered strikes and lockouts in multiple sports here. They don't have safety guidelines in place for Major League Baseball yet. I brought up something so simple that I don't know if baseball can do anything about it. If you're on first base and there's a first baseman there, how are we practicing social distancing here? How about the catcher? You go to the plate. These are just simple things. And I don't know how they've been addressed, if they've been addressed, and if they've come up with a solution here. All right, I spent far too much time on this. And I had vowed when I came in this morning, I'm going to try to get through the first hour with not talking baseball. And I did. A little bit. All right, McLevin, you got a poll question for me?
Okay, so we put up an NBA poll question. Does going to Orlando and eating great food, playing basketball, and hanging out with your friends sound amazing or awful for 3 months?
It's 3 months.
Still, 61% say amazing.
Yeah.
I think parents with young kids are really into that idea right now.
3 months is a long time. That's really a long time.
That'll be the good teams for 3 months.
Yeah.
Some will get out in 2 months.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you can remove them after they've played for 2 months and they can have the Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals in their home arenas. And then I don't have to worry about as many people who are going to be there in Orlando. But you might say, look, all the safeguards are going to be in place And by then, they're going to be able to have this quarantined as well as you could possibly do it, I'm guessing. And then when these teams lose, then they leave. Though you're going to greatly reduce the work staff there by the time you get to the NBA Finals. They're so desperate to get these finals in. There's so much money attached to it. Hundreds of millions of dollars are attached to this. Hundreds of millions of dollars. That's why they're pushing so hard for a baseball season. Yeah, McLeod.
Where do you stand after seeing all this, having 16 teams just play the playoffs in the NBA compared to the 22 that they're bringing in?
I didn't want 22. But they want to say, we want to have this as close to normal as possible. I just don't know if you can. I don't need to bring in 22 teams. 16, fine. Okay, I'm sorry. Zion didn't make the playoffs. But, they want to have a certain number of regular season games contractually, and you want to get the postseason in. And they're hell-bent on doing that. I brought up something in the first hour. In fact, I found out something in the first hour. Mark Price of the Cleveland Cavaliers not in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And he was an All-American at Georgia Tech. He was drafted in the first round. I think Dallas drafted him. Then he goes to the Cavaliers, helped them become contenders. And I think Larry Bird was the first player who went 50 from the floor, 40 from three-point range, 90 from the free throw line. Mark Price was the second one to do that. 4-time All-Star. Maybe didn't play long enough. I don't know, but I was kind of surprised that Mark Price is not in the Hall of Fame because it's about college and pro. But, Mark Price was right there with Kevin Johnson, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas. He had a run. He had a run where he averaged at least 15 and 8 assists a game. A 7-year period. So he's right there with Isaiah, KJ, and John Stockton. Yeah, Paulie.
But he was a very good player if you're a hardcore fan, but he was in such a shadow with the players around him at the time. Like you said, Isaiah, Magic, Jordan, just in his own conference, there were so many more flashy, exciting, highlight players. He gets easily forgotten by the casual fan.
If they had beaten the Bulls, if they had gone to Eastern Conference Finals, and that was a really talented team. That Cavs team was really good. Doherty and Nance in there. Price, that was a good team. But they didn't do a good job double covering Michael Jordan. All right, some phone calls here. And once again, we'll talk to the great comedian Bill Burr. Also, this day in show history. Do you have this, Paulie?
It's ready for later.
Okay. I don't want to take it.
You could do it now if you want.
Well, Marvin, who answers the phones here, came up with this from this date 1 year ago today. Do you want to do this? You want to do this now?
It was a big deal at the time.
Okay. All right. This is 1 year ago today. Kevin Costner in studio in New York. Second time he had joined us. And he went after Paulie. And here's how it sounded.
I watched Field of Dreams just again the other day. Everyone loves that movie. It's got a lot of legs. It's going to be around forever. But I was wondering, when you're getting pitched Field of Dreams, when they're pitching you're at your peak of stardom. Do you ever think, this could be really silly?
What, do you think I peaked? What are you talking about?
No, but like you were...
No, we can't do that. Yeah, we can't.
No offense.
I mean, you just okay, Paulie, you can't say that, and you can't say that, Kevin.
Did you see what he said to me?
He said you peaked.
Yeah, you said he peaked.
You misquoted me. You were
okay.
Wait, what did you say?
You just said you were.
So okay,
don't you push me down?
Never, Mr. Costner. But did you ever think when you got pitched the idea for Field of Dreams, this could be really silly? It turned out fantastic.
I can tell you exactly where I was when I read that movie. Dan and I were talking about it before we started to roll, and I apologize for humiliating you.
He just got the same treatment as that fan.
That's Billy Kitchen. You suck, Paulie. You suck.
Yeah, you
suck.
Billy Chappell.
That's Billy Chappell.
Yeah. I apologize to the audience too. You can use that word if you just use it sparingly, and it's just like a sword.
I'm aware.
He was talking about For Love of the Game, where he plays this pitcher, Billy Chappell, and he said that they were shooting the movie and they had the extras, and these New Yorkers are yelling out, "You suck! Billy Chapel suck!" And that's not supposed to be in the movie there, but the extras were there, and I guess shooting late at night, and they were mad, that they whatever they were getting, $25 a day, and they're yelling at Kevin Costner on the mound in true New York form. That was this day in show history a year ago today. Yeah, Paul.
That was a wild scene because we got along very, very well with him the last couple of times we had him in studio. I really was trying to say that he had reached like a high level as an actor.
We got it.
But it's funny how it didn't come out right, and his face was like, you could see him. He like jerks back and is ready to go.
Well, what was worse, when McLovin and Joe Montana?
Oh, yeah, because you told Joe Montana. You instigated that one.
I told Joe what you had said before on numerous occasions, that Joe Montana was the system quarterback.
Right.
Okay, so you never said, hey, whatever you do, don't tell Joe Montana.
Well, I mean, Steve Young obviously walked right in there and did the same thing. What does that imply to you?
I know. And Joe Montana, he turned on you. You still stand by that Joe Montana was the system quarterback.
Yeah, I saw it by a big Twitter debate. Who, at the end of the day, who's going to have a better career, Russell Wilson or Joe Montana? I actually thought of Paulie immediately with that one.
Joe Montana.
Probably.
Russell Wilson threw an interception at the goal line.
What if he hadn't?
But he did.
What was it? It was the terrible play call.
It was. He threw the pass. And I don't know if they're getting back to another. Montana went 4-0. I mean, he never threw an interception in a Super Bowl. It's Joe Montana. It's not even close. Russell Wilson will have better stats, but that's what today's quarterback is about, better stats. Joe Montana was 4-0 in the Super Bowl and never threw an interception.
But if Russell Wilson had landed with Bill Walsh in San Francisco
it
in
doesn't
1980,
work that way. He landed with Pete Carroll, who's going to go into the Hall of Fame.
True. But if Joe Montana had gone to Seattle, what would have happened?
Wait, don't do this.
Tom Brady been drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, he'd be out of the league and not ruggedly, handsomely posing for.
Oh, I know. The pictures of Tom Brady in the new Tampa Bay uniforms came out.
Yeah, you still owe us an opinion on that, by the way. Do you like the new look, Rugged Tommy?
It's okay, but when you say, is Tom Brady more handsome now or when he was younger, I don't want to get into that. He's just, he's a handsome guy and, like ruggedly handsome. When you get older, you're ruggedly handsome.
At some point in your 30s, you transfer from hot to handsome, and that's a good thing.
I didn't. Yeah, I never did that. I never. Seaton's the only one with boy band good looks, but even now.
That maybe if that was true, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah. And Fritzy, he had his run too, about 2 years. When you're back at camp counselor,
it all fell off the old wagon.
Yeah, I never had it, but Seaton had it for a little while longer than everybody. But Todd had a good run there for probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
there was some beefcake there. No, you were a beefed up Mark Ruffalo.
It was late teens into the early mid-20s, and then
I know
started eating M&Ms or something. I don't know what happened.
All right, we'll get to phone calls here, and the Tampa Bay photos of Tom. Yeah, all right, they look good. I want to see the creamsicle. I don't care about these other Tampa uniforms there. That's what I want to see. I think we have the only mock-up, and that's out in the man cave where I brought in our street artist, RC, and I said, put him in the creamsicle uniforms there. That's what I want to see when he's able to do that. All right, we'll take a break. Phone calls, and the great comedian Bill Burr will join us coming up. Dale Jr. in an hour from now. It's approaching, synchronizing our watches here, almost 20 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. Seaton was getting frustrated. He was over there on the putting green. And I said, hey, I'm going to blame you. I'm not blaming the putter because that's the Odyssey putter.
Definitely user error in that case.
And I was trying to help him because they have these new triple track putters. They thought of everything. Callaway, that Maverick driver, the irons, fairway woods. You're going to love the Callaway Chrome Soft golf ball. The triple track putter, it helps you get aligned so you can aim much easier. When you line up correctly, it's amazing how many putts you make. They have the Stroke Lab shaft that's been winning major championships and dominating on professional tours around the world. Do you know how many putts that don't get it to the hole make it, Todd?
I don't.
0. They don't make it
0.
to the hole.
I see what you did.
Stay with me. there.
Okay.
All right. Get lined up with the new triple track putters at OdysseyGolf.com. Odyssey, the #1 putter in golf. Didn't you almost get traded to the Patriots?
I did.
And
I did.
is that prior to them drafting Gronk?
Yep, it was contingent on that.
Oh, so if they didn't get Gronk?
Yep. So I've told, I don't know how often I've told this story, but I've told it a few times. So I got called into Jerry Angelo's office. So this would have been going into the 2000. So this would have been the 2010 offseason.
With the Bears.
With the Bears. We had brought in Mike Martz. We had a little offensive change, brought in some new coaches. Before that draft, so that was Gronk's draft, I had known Gronk a little bit. We have the same agent. We were training together down in Miami. And Jerry Angelo brought me into his office, and he's like, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. We have a trade in place with you contingent on how the draft falls tomorrow night. And come to later find out through some guys that I knew in the organization, it was with the Patriots. And it was them assuming that he was going to be taken in the first round. That year, the Patriots had 3 second-round draft picks. And they were going to trade one of those for me if Gronk was already taken in the first round. He fell to the second round. They took him with their second-round pick, Belichick called back the Bears and said, we're going to take Gronkowski with our second-round pick, and the trade is now off. And then they called me back in and they said, all right, we entertained that trade. You're going to play for us this year. Played for them in 2010, and then they ended up trading me 2011.
Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you played with the Patriots?
You know, there's a lot of, what ifs and all that, but I wouldn't trade being traded to Carolina for anything. I mean, what that was for, like, personally, and then of course what that's been for my career and what the success we've had going to a team that was the worst team in the league in 2010 to then, culminate to the Super Bowl appearance in 15, 4 or 5 playoff appearances. We really were able to kind of ride this thing. Cam being a big part, Ron. There's a few of us there from that first 2011 season. We've been through a lot, and the city of Charlotte has been awesome to our family.
John Valley
of
Oh, Sports Talk Radio.
I didn't even know that was you. I didn't.
You thought there
I
was
just came out to rebound. That's all. I've never in 63 years seen that shot go down.
But this place
Never.
is right in Angleton, which is a little further.
Not many
north
guys
of there,
are willing
and,
to take that shot.
Look
It
at
was
that.
awesome. It was 50 acres.
This is Tommy Heinsohn.
I had it on mute.
Yeah, it's on. Your mic's on.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Come on.
All right, yeah.
You're not going to quit while you're ahead.
What is that?
So this whole deal is you?
Yeah.
My God. I thought I was coming to a Grateful Dead concert when I pulled up and saw the setup. Nice. Nice. Look at that. I had no idea. I had no idea. I just thought you were the pretty face. And now you got a game. Look at this. Jumper after jumper. Man. It's like rebounding for Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
There you go.
Look at this jumper. I had no idea. Why aren't you playing in the NBA?
Dan Patrick Show brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT 4-door coupe. Life's a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews this week or any week from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, Mercedes-AMG Driving Performance. The fourth season of Bill Burr's animated Netflix series, F is for Family. He's got Laura Dern in there, Justin Long, Sam Rockwell. It started up last week. He's also in the Judd Apatow film The King of Staten Island, starring Bill alongside Pete Davidson and Marissa Tomei, that premiered on June 12th. Big-time actor now, no longer comedian, big-time actor, Billy Burr. Good morning, Bill.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I had some lines in a movie that wasn't mine. That's a Pete Davidson vehicle, Dan Patrick.
You borrow it. I don't know if you steal the movie, but you borrow the movie. Is that fair to say?
I don't know.
You did well. It was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Marissa Tomei brightens up everybody's day.
She's probably the best I've ever worked with. She was it just was incredible to work opposite against and like I don't know. I don't know how to quite put it into words. Like, she was one of those people, she put the glasses on and they had the wig that she wore, and she just became somebody else, which was very intimidating. I was like, my God, I just a stupid comic. How am I going to hang in here with this? But yeah, she was amazing.
But how do you work on the makeout scenes?
You don't. Radio loves it. All the creeps are in radio. Like, how does this work? What was that like? Did you feel feelings? Believe it or not, I had never done a kissing scene in any acting other than like kissing somebody hello real quick when you came home. So, you know, and it's funny is you just assumed that you know what you're doing. So, I just remember before we did the first one, she just looked at Judd. She goes, "Is this like a kiss, or is this like?" And he goes, "Oh, you know, you're totally head over heels and blah blah." It was just so like mechanical that it just felt like it was part of the job. So that's what it was. And then not to mention, like, you know, the way we were shooting, we were in close, so the people like who lived in the house next door, who weren't in the movie, were all sitting on their stairs looking at us. So it was probably the least romantic thing ever. So you're in your head. Oh my God, you know, is my breath stink? Is this going to look bad? And blah blah blah. It's nothing like what you think. But
well, and the reason why I bring it up, I wasn't being creepy because I was in a Sandler movie where I have to kiss a woman, and it's not scripted to kiss her. Sandler decides to throw it into the script, and it was awkward. I didn't know the woman, and I had no time to think about it. And then you kiss her, and then I was like, oh, God, hopefully I don't have to do another take. Like, it was uncomfortable.
That's exactly what I thought. And I remember when I got through that, I was like, all right, this movie's all downhill from here. You know, I got through that. They somehow liked what I did, and now I can kind of continue on. So I actually, you know, a lot of being a comedian, people always say, oh, my God, I can't believe you do that. How do you get the nerve to go up there? I find acting takes way more courage because, like, with stand-up, I mean, there is the first time they call you up there and you hang on for dear life. But you have like an act and you control the areas that you're going to go to. So you will create a comfort zone up there that you can just stay in for your whole career if you want. But like you get into acting, it's like, you look at the page going, I don't know how to do. I got to dance, you know, opposite Mark Wahlberg or something. I had to do something. I was like, oh my, what is it? And it's just like, we wrote this, we hired you, now you have to do it. Whereas a comedian, I could be like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not me. That's not part of my brand. Like with acting, it's like, we wrote this, you have to go do it.
And also when they see your performance, and I've seen some of the reactions, it's like, oh, wow, he can be a serious actor. And I remind people, and I said this after I watched the movie, if you think of comedy, there's a lot of darkness to comedy because you live things in your life. You just illuminate them to make jokes of what happened that could be something bad. You know, Sandler doing Uncut Gems. They're like, man, he can be a serious actor. I'm assuming as a comedian, you're kind of digging deep into dark areas there with your family, and then you make fun of it. So you are acting that way.
if you listen to a lot of stories that comics tell, what they're telling you is very, what happened in their life was very dramatic, and they lived the drama of it, and then telling the story afterwards is just like putting the geez, you wouldn't believe this day, but like as whatever they're joking about, when it was happening, it wasn't funny to them. So, I don't. It's also kind of funny to me that you would think that somebody could actually live a drama-free life, like nothing bad was going to happen. You'd have no disagreements. You're just walking around with like a red nose and a clown horn all day long. I mean, it's just not what it is. But you know what it is. It's like, however people see you, then that's the perception. I mean, before I became a comedian, I thought comedians were the coolest people in the world, that all they did was just go around joking around all day, making you laugh every 8 seconds. That thing that a lot of people in the club, the crowd do when they come up to you, like, wow, you're like really mellow. Wow, you're not like how it's like, do you think I was going to be that guy? Screaming around and jumping up and down. Like, how long would that be interesting?
When I had Judd Apatow on last week, I said, can you guys, the reason why comedians hang out with comedians is you probably don't suffer fools. And if you're with, like, Jimmy next door, he's going to try too hard to make you laugh. So is that why comedians hang out with each other?
Well, I think just juxtaposition where we are. We probably, you get to know your coworkers, you hang out with them and stuff. And, my thing, as long as somebody's cool or whatever, like, I can hang out with them. And I know that I don't want to sit around and talk about my job after I'm done doing it. The same way a plumber, I don't want to sit there and be like, so like, when you get a busted radiator, well, he doesn't want to sit there and talk about that. So I usually, whoever I hang out with, they're into sports. That's what's great about sports, is you can steer it. I remember the first time I did your show, we went to a break and I brought up some sports analogy or something like that. And you just looked over at me and you went like, these are the thoughts that consume your world. And I was like, oh my God, I just did that to him. What is the last thing Dan Patrick wants to talk about during a break of a sports show? More sports. And I did it. So we're all guilty of it.
Oh, I know, but people will do that. They'll go, here, let me give you a sports analogy. Like, I couldn't understand something unless there's a sports analogy that they have to dumb it down for me to go, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, I wanted your approval that I was officially a sports fan.
What do you...
with comedians, people want your approval, I guess, that they're funny or, but I don't know. I find most part people are pretty cool.
We're talking to Bill Burr. The movie is The King of Staten Island, and Pete Davidson. It's a Judd Apatow film. Also, F is for Family. That stars Bill and Laura Dern, the 4th season of the animated Netflix series. What sport are you missing the most right now?
That's a tough one. I would say the last 2 months was playoff hockey.
Yeah.
And now I just kind of like, I'm more in like just baseball. I guess I miss baseball. I got excited to see some stuff about the NFL. I mean, I don't know how this works when, you have a pandemic and the fire isn't put out yet. And then all right, we're going to go out now and get the fire going again. I'd be honest with you, I don't understand why we have all this money to bail out banks, but we don't have an additional fund to just get everybody tested. You know who has it, you know who doesn't. Whoever has it stays home and everybody else can go to work so they don't lose their house or their business. You would think, I mean, I know it's a behemoth trying to run a country. I said that like I've ever done it, but I know it's not that simple, but I hope I heard New York is like getting tested is getting a lot easier, which was the first positive news I've heard in a while. So hopefully, I don't know. I just don't want to see people go broke.
Why don't you stick to the jokes here, Bill, okay?
Did I get over my tape right there?
Do you remember, what was it? I don't know if it was intimidating. Maybe that's not the right word. But when you're on with Chappelle, when you're on that show, or you're on Breaking Bad, like the magnitude of that, and maybe they're not the same, but what were those feelings like when you were working, on those two shows?
Oh, the night before in the van ride over to set, yeah, terrified. Like you never feel, at least I don't feel worthy of being there, and but then I got this German-Irish thing where I can just wall off all of my feelings, which is bad in my personal life, but in my professional life, it's good. Like I there's like a place I can go to mentally that I just like, all right, I'm just, one foot in front of the other. I'm just going to do this scene. People want you to, they want it to go well. And then it's like afterwards, like the level of relief that I have, after if I would do stand up on Letterman and it went well, just the level of relief.
Yeah.
I would get so wound up emotionally. And then right before I would go out there, I had this little mental game I could play to get myself out of that. I used to do the thing. I would walk by the crowd and really look at the crowd as they were lined up waiting to go into the Ed Sullivan Theater. Look at that guy with his I Love New York t-shirt. These are just regular people, Bill. This is just like doing a spot at the Cellar. It's just Dave Letterman's going to be sitting, 5 feet away from you. So,
yeah, I don't know if you measure yourself with like Chappelle and his brilliance, and can you be on that level, or you're going to be on Breaking?
No, that's a very easy answer. No, not even remotely. Dave is Dave, and then the rest of us are doing stand up. I mean, his latest special is incredible. Well, you just, you look at some great team. I'm going to do a sports analogy here.
Okay, good.
But not for you, because this is how I live my life.
Okay, good.
Okay, on all sports teams, there is the Tom Brady, Joe Montana guy, but then then there's also like the guys who just step up and make a play. Malcolm Butler, there's those guys. They step up in the moment, and then like you just look like, okay, I'm just going to do my job. My job is to do these little 5 lines. I got these 5 lines down. Dave Chappelle's carrying the weight of this, or Bryan Cranston. I find you just do your job and get. And then when they say cut, you get the fuck out. Oops, sorry, you get out of the way. Sorry about that.
That's Bill Burr, comedian, joining us on the program. You got to do something with the background there in your crib.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I don't.
Yeah,
you're like a 17-year-old chick who's accessorizing too much. I can barely see you. You got dolls. You just need bracelets and a nose ring.
Do you have?
Why don't you send me half of that crap and we'll meet in the middle?
Do you have bars on your window there? What kind of neighborhood do you live? What kind of neighborhood? Oh, they're curtained. Oh, they look like bars?
Yeah, no, I'm a minimalist. Oh, you want to go around?
Yeah, let's go around the room here. Let
me
see.
Go. I got something for Breaking Bad fans. I usually don't save souvenirs, but this shirt was so ridiculous. I just have this laying here. This is the shirt, the stagecoach shirt or whatever, the cowboy shirt that I wore when we robbed the train.
Why didn't you get it framed?
I haven't got around to it.
All right. What else do you have in there? And that was like 7 years ago or whenever.
All right.
All right,
I'll show you.
What else do you got here?
I'll show you the coolest thing any fan ever got me. Here.
Okay, here we go.
All right. So I did a gig in Boston. I'm a huge hockey fan, and this guy who custom paints goalie masks.
Oh, that's sharp.
Look at this.
Burr. Oh, it says Burr on there in
and
Bruins
it's got
color.
the Bruin B.
Yeah.
And on this side, it's got look at that. It's got George Carlin, Richard Pryor. On this side, I play drums as a hobby. So they used to, in big band days, they would say BR, like Buddy Rich, Led Zeppelin, because I like John Bonham, and Steven Adler's skull from the Appetite for Destruction. And then on top, I'm a Ford guy. I also say, go, you know what, yourself at the end of my podcast. So the F word is written like the Ford logo. Can't have that. And on the back, he's got a Patrice O'Neill, the greatest comic I ever saw.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that incredible?
That is awesome.
And he just gave it to me, and I could barely thank him, and he left.
Who's over your right shoulder? That's
Angus Young. That's Angus Young on the High Voltage tour. That's Bobby Orr. And down there, that's at the Comedy Store with Dana Carvey, Norm Macdonald, and David Spade. 3 of my huge comedy heroes. That was my favorite cast of SNL. And one night we were all down there. I think it was David Spade's show. And he put me on in the main room, Comedy Store, back when you could do stand-up comedy in front of human beings. And, we went down there. It just so happened that there was a photographer down there, and he snapped that picture. And that is my favorite, other than my close friends that I started with, if you told me that I was going to get to work with any of them in any capacity, I would have been, over the moon.
Don't get sentimental. I mean, once again, stick to the jokes here, Bill. You're getting heavy.
Hey, listen, can you stop taking your emotionally, like, your childhood out on me? I'm sorry you weren't hugged as a child, Dan. I have things and I enjoy things. Why are you hiding so much on your own show? That's what I want. Like, if I was a therapist, this is a very guarded set that you have, all of this stuff. Do you need to prove to people that you're that loved that they send you all these dolls?
Yes. Yeah. But I got a commercial break
Up
here.
against a break.
Up against a commercial break. Golly, I'd love to spend a
That
lot
is
of
the best way to diffuse when somebody's coming at you. You disagree with them.
Yeah.
What do you do that because you're insecure? Yes, I do.
Yes, I am. I'm all of the above. Absolutely. Hey, congrats on the film, and love the mustache. Looked hot, and we both have one thing in common. We both made out with Marissa Tomei.
Well, there you go. And I felt that warmth during this this interview.
And yours was in a movie. Thank you, Bill.
All right, Dan. Thanks,
That's
buddy.
Bill Burr. The movie is King of Staten Island. We'll take a break. Back after this. Father's Day can be tough, but I've got a couple of tips for you to make it go a little smoother. One of the most important things to do on Father's Day is to relax. So to help you out in understanding that, I brought in the master, Professor P. Pabst.
Paul Pabst, your leisure guru, back with another tip. Now, everyone knows you gotta have a great cooler. It's a hot day. You don't want the drinks getting warm. That's a disaster. This is as good as it gets right here from Cabela's. Now, Cabela's decided to go the next level. Your drinks are cold, everything's set. Uh-oh, forgot a beer opener. Problem solved.
Celebrate Father's Day by shopping in-store or online to make sure you find the perfect gift for Dad. Do you miss yelling at somebody?
No. I mean, we got some guys you can yell at. Nate's in there, Boomer's in there, Phil. But I don't yell anymore. But do you miss it? No, you miss the emotional ups and downs a little bit, yeah. So,
Do you miss Sundays?
Miss Sundays, yeah. I mean, I what I liked most about coaching, Dan, was probably strategizing. I missed putting together a game plan. I missed the combative back and forth strategic elements of the game on Sunday. Making the adjustments and what you've prepared for all week. All of a sudden, it's not there, which I think Bill Belichick obviously is very, very good at, and I think Sean McVay is good at the battle within the battle. It's because I always say more games are lost than are won, and losing a game sometimes it's a case of not acclimating to your opponent and being able to be flexible enough in your thinking and what you've put in to be able to acclimate to a matchup that all of a sudden, wow, I thought we could win this. We can't win this. How do we protect them? Or all of a sudden, I see something I can exploit. Keep going after it, because I'd much rather have them do it on the sideline. But if it works once, I'd run it again.
What's the game you still look back on and have a nightmare?
Nightmare? Probably my third year. It was the San Diego Chargers. They came to Pittsburgh for the AFC Championship game. And it was a game we had beaten them earlier in the season and actually beat them and had rested some players. So we were very heavily favored in the game. And, we started that game, and it was a game that, number one, it was in Pittsburgh. And all that day it was like 60 degrees, which is probably not a good omen in itself, right? And but it came down to the last play, in the end zone, and Dennis Gibson knocked away a pass from Neil O'Donnell to Barry Foster, and the whole crowd just went silent. And I always remember that game because it was a game that we were a defensive football team, and Barry Foster had 1,700 yards that year, and we imposed ourselves on people, and 4th and 2 and a 2, and I went empty and throw the ball, and we incomplete pass. I go into the locker room, and I remember telling the players at the time, I said, there's no words I can say that are going to ease the pain that you're feeling right now, but just understand that you've done a lot for this city, and this was not the end. This is just the beginning of us coming back to being relative again. And I went back into the coaches, and I told the coaches what an amazing job they did. They made this team better than they really ever should be. And they pushed all the right buttons. And I went in there, saw Mr. Rooney, and I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Rooney, for letting you down, but he gave me a little pat on the shoulder, and I saw my wife, and she gave me a peck on the cheek, and I walked over, and my daughter, who was 8 at the time, Megan, was there, and she looked at me, and she goes, Dad, I said, what? She goes, why don't you give the ball to Barry Foster? He could have got 2 yards. And Lauren says, Megan, Mom said not to say it to Dad. Megan said, Lauren, you said the same thing in the box. Girls. Hindsight, you're right. I probably should have given the ball to Barry Foster.
Do you think Pete Carroll faced that same kind of interrogation with his family?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I think that the thing that happens in these games is you do reflect. You reflect.
But you outthink like, if that was a regular season game, would you have made the same call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I've never second guessed a call, but you get reflective as to why you did it. And I think if you prepare, the biggest thing is, again, is just move on from it. You make a decision, and I've said that to players before after a season. Listen, I want you here. We probably can't keep you or give you what you want. You're going to have to make a monetary decision what the value is to being a part of something special. But if you decide to go, don't look back. Don't look back. Because I think if you put thought into something, you put preparation into something, whatever happens, it was meant to happen.
Yeah, the King of Staten Island, I liked it. I thought Bill Burr was really good, Marissa Tomei really good. It's really based on Pete Davidson's life, loosely based on Pete Davidson's life. I thought that some of his friends in the movie were really good, and I wanted to see more of them. But it's King of Staten Island. A couple of phone calls here. Roger in New York. Hi, Roger. What's on your mind today?
Hey, what's up, Dan? So I know you didn't want to talk baseball, but I just got to bring it back up.
Okay.
So I'm definitely a bit angry. I mean, in terms of the season coming back, I feel like the MLB Players Association and the owners, they're not only not seeing that eye to eye, but I feel like the financials behind it is just not it's not all added up. So I find that to make things better, I think that the Players Association has to.
All righty. Very dramatic pause there.
Made his point, though.
Thank you for holding for 40 minutes, Roger.
He's where MLB is basically right now anyway.
Yeah. Walter in Florida joins us. Hi, Walter. How are you?
Great. Hey, Dan. This might come across as blasphemy, but I think this is a great opportunity for baseball to get its viewership back by, make it an 82 season for now and forever. Play only in the summer. Everybody takes a pay cut, and you make it affordable for a family of 4 to go to a game again. My kids, they're in college, and I thought, they would love to play baseball. They just were bored. It's not the top of the entertainment food chain. So knock it down to 82 games, keep it short, keep it in the summer. Don't compete with football. And, they take a pay cut, but a family of 4 can go see a game again.
Yeah, but they don't care about that, Walter. They don't care. And thanks for the phone call. They don't. These players are making their money. They feel like they've earned that money. These owners are making their money, and they continue to price gouge you there until you stop going. And I've said for years now, I don't know why owners don't make it more fan-friendly to get more people in, younger fans, to experience a baseball game. We all had that first baseball game, and we can all remember it. But you're not giving these kids that moment because it costs so much. Just parking. Just getting in the door, you're down $100. And then everything that goes along with going there. But if you set up special areas and you say, hey, if you get straight A's, you bring your report card in, or, we'll put you out there. Tickets are going to be $3, $5 at the most. Whatever it is, get you into the ballpark because I want repeat business. And part of baseball is it's about the same people going to games and watching games. You don't have that curiosity factor. And that's where you're thinking long-term, bigger picture here. And baseball is getting older. And I'm talking about the fan base. Baseball getting older and not wiser either. Alan in Los Angeles. Hi, Alan. What do you have for me today?
Yeah, good morning, Dan. This is Alan from LA. I'm a hardcore baseball fan. I just have a idea for a T-shirt. Ernie Banks, let's play one. You know, and also Buster Olney's article was so great. He said if baseball just would have signed that agreement in March, they would have been the only team, and there would have been goodwill, ratings, and for the long term. And they are ruining baseball for the long term. And as a hardcore baseball fan, I feel so bad.
Yeah, I don't have answers, and thank you, Alan. I'm just like everybody else. You know, it's just frustrating. It is. Because baseball was really important to me. It's becoming less and less important because it's not really baseball. You either hit a home run or you strike out. Baseball has no movement anymore. And I could understand, you know, if I've taken my kids to a game, I didn't make them, but I made sure that they went to see Derek Jeter's last year. I wanted them to just, so they could tell, you know, their kids, grandkids, they saw Derek Jeter play at Yankee Stadium. I thought it was that important. But there's no movement, and they're you can tell, like, they're restless. They're teenagers at the time, and they're going, what's the big deal? Now, my son's a baseball fan, but my daughters are like, it's kind of boring here. No movement whatsoever. And that's another problem. Hey, if we give everybody what they want home runs, everybody's going to be watching. Everybody's going to want to tune in. That's not the case. Mark Grace was on yesterday. He said, there's never a hit and run anymore. There's never a suicide squeeze. You don't give yourself up going to the other side of the infield. And you might say, well, those are boring. That's movement. Watch a baseball game when they come back and how much movement there is or there isn't. It's, I can throw 97 and your launch angle is to hit a home run. That's all it is. It's not exciting. Too much of a good thing. Hey, people want home runs. Okay, we'd like to have a little bit more. And you don't have that. Jesse in L.A. Hi, Jess.
Hey, DP. 5'10", Bill Hard 169. Hey, DP, I've been waiting for you to get Bill Burr back on for a long time, and that all the creeps are on the radio line is exactly why he's my favorite.
He's great.
If you're cruising around Netflix, check out his older stand-up show, Let It Go. You'll absolutely love it. But my comment on the MLB, sorry to do this to you, is that the lowest projected value of all MLB teams as of late 2019, according to the website Stadium Talk, are the Baltimore Orioles at $2.1 billion.
Yeah.
The lowest paid players are league minimum $560,000. And I'm more than a casual baseball fan. I'll come back to watch. But I believe, as you say, they're going to lose even more money in the long run by not coming back when it comes to gate entry because it just looks terrible to the everyday person. Thanks a lot.
And thank you, Jesse. I was fortunate growing up that if you got straight A's, and granted I didn't, but people in my house did, you got tickets to the Reds. And I remember going to the Padres game. The Padres weren't any good, but I got to go see the Big Red Machine in Cincinnati at Riverfront Stadium, and it didn't cost that much. And my dad took us, and it stayed with me. We were in center field. That's where they put the straight A kids, or those who knew the straight A kids. And they weren't great seats. I was in the ballpark. We went there for batting practice. I just remember everything about it. It was sensory overload. And I never forgot that. And that's what baseball's missing out on. Get another generation in the ballpark to experience it. And it's affordable, so Dad can take them. Dale Jr. coming up, final hour.
Yeah.
You never had a line where you went, oh,
yeah,
money.
there were a couple of good
That's
ones.
money.
I can't. I don't remember. Honest, Your Honor, I don't know. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's it. That's a good one.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think I can do a very good. Okay, I want you to judge now.
Yeah.
McLovin, I'll let you start with your Keith Morrison impersonation.
Oh, boy. I'm terrible at impersonations.
Okay. All right, here we go.
What was Fritzy doing hanging around the wall of morale? He said he was just passing through. The DNA tells a different story. Oh.
That never happened. Never happened.
Yeah, you can't go back to Hader's line.
Can I have another option? That was terrible.
I'll come back to you.
All right, fine.
Seton.
She was known as Jane Doe number 5. But this anonymous woman's story was well known to the South Amboy Police Department. Jane Doe number 5.
I think you did Mankiewicz there.
Josh Mankiewicz making it appears here. All right, Paulie.
Up next on Dateline, the case of the honeymoon from hell.
Perfect
Wow.
Bill Hader, I got to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
Does Hader do Keith Morrison better than Keith Morrison?
Oh, way better.
Okay.
Way better.
Paulie,
In
that
fact, people will come and claim to do an impression of me in an airport or something like that, and they do a perfect Bill Hader.
Wait, they come up to you and impersonate you?
Yeah, but they're impersonating Bill Hader.
Paulie, that was great.
You know how you get the voice? Stay out late at the House of Blues and get no sleep.
And drink whiskey. Yeah. All right, Fritzy, you ready?
I am.
Okay.
Remember that small piece of luggage being dragged through the hotel lobby we showed you earlier? It looked a lot heavier this time around on the security camera. Certainly a body couldn't fit in there unless something was done to make it fit. And where was he going with that? And why all the bleach in the back seat? Then taking your 5-year-old son already suffering from pneumonia to a campsite in the middle of the night in the snow? That seemed odd. But not to the assistant district attorney's office in Miami-Dade County. To them, it made perfect sense. Next, how an old Joe DiMaggio baseball card helped crack the case and provide a home run for the prosecution.
Okay, well done. Well done.
It's a very big team.
You are my hero. I've been looking forward to
that was a little too long for the team.
Just a little bit.
Because Keith will just go, let's say, still to come.
I was throwing like 4 different episodes of Dateline on and packed it into one. These were like real,
No,
right? These were real things.
teasers are things like, careful what you wish for. Things like that.
That's so great.
Yeah, be like, whoosh, still to come. The dog was barking. Or was it a dog?
That's good. I like that. Yeah. That's pretty good.
All right, McLovin, I'll give you another chance to redeem yourself.
No way, dude.
After
He's the
Fritzy, you
Richard
can.
Pryor of impersonations
I love
there.
him. Father's Day can be tough, but I've got a couple of tips for you to make it go a little smoother. One of the most important things to do on Father's Day is to relax. So to help you out in understanding that, I brought in the master, Professor P. Pabst.
Paul Pabst, your leisure guru, back with another tip. Now, everyone knows you gotta have a great cooler. It's a hot day. You don't want the drinks getting warm. That's a disaster. This is as good as it gets right here from Cabela's. Now, Cabela's decided to go the next level. Your drinks are cold, everything's set. Uh-oh, forgot a beer opener. Problem solved.
Celebrate Father's Day by shopping in-store or online to make sure you find the perfect gift for Dad. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
The respect for our country, the people who fought for those freedoms, the people who protect us here and abroad, I think those are very important.
We should have listened to our players earlier, including Colin Kaepernick, including Eric Reed, including Kenny Stills, and so many others.
Perception has changed. The landscape has changed. The NFL didn't have an epiphany where they go, you know what, on second thought, it feels like there's a part of the commissioner that's saying, do I just want to be known as a guy who made a lot of money for the owners here? He's Mark Gray's former Cub, Diamondback, All-Star first baseman. How are you not tempted to use steroids?
I'm going to give you the honest answer, Dan. I was a single man in Chicago, and that stuff is bad for your get up and go, if you know what I mean.
Just explain it to me.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
Wait till you see what I do on steroids.
This is Dan Patrick.
Final hour on this Wednesday, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will join us. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Join us coming up about 20 minutes from now. NBA guidelines started leaking out yesterday. ESPN published a lot of them. Teams are encouraged to bring a mental health professional with their travel party. If they choose not to, teams must make telehealth appointments available, particularly if any player experiences increased feelings of anxiety and stress, that being away from home, but also being quarantined in the bubble for as much as 3 months here. NBA health protocols concede maintaining 6 feet of distance during playing cards. I don't think that you can do that, playing cards, and be 6 feet apart. But they also said that you will play cards and wear masks, and then when you're done with that game of cards, then you throw away the deck of cards. And then the NBA said sufficient packs of cards will be available. Zach Lowe of the Mothership says that you're not allowed to bring any pets on campus. So no pets will be there. Just ping pong. You can't play doubles, only singles in ping pong. But you're going to be there for a while, and I wonder, people talk about this in Hawaii, where you get that island fever, where you're on the island, and boy, it's beautiful. And then you start to panic a little bit because you're on an island, and you can't just get off the island there. Hey, you got everything you want. It's beautiful. Sunshine, sand, but you're being controlled. And I think that you're going to have players who will probably experience this. And when the NBA is saying you got to have a mental health person there, because you might get people feeling like they're constricted, that they've got a seatbelt on and they can't go where they want to go. They can't live their life how they want to live it. But the NBA and the players, they're being very careful that you don't want to come off as complaining here, because they understand what's going on. Hey, you're going to Orlando at the Disney World Resort, and you're going to be at a great place. You're going to have food. You're going to have everything you need. You just have to stay in this bubble, and you play basketball. That's why these players being very cautious in what they say in criticizing any of this here. 877-3DP Show, email address, dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle @DP Show. I was just mentioning to the Danettes, a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to take the family. We were out for a wedding in South Dakota, and we loaded up the car, and we drove to Mount Rushmore. And you can drive for hours and not see another car. You can go as fast as you want, and you're just going. And so we eventually get to Mount Rushmore, and beautiful day, sun is out, get out of the car. It's so majestic. And my wife and I are looking at it going, this was worth the drive. And my 4 kids go, all right, can we go now? And I go, wait, no. No, we just got here. We're going to experience the whole thing. We wanted to find out how they made this. The artist, there's a visitor center in there, but they had seen pictures. So they're like, okay, hey, it looks just like it does in the books. And they wanted to leave. I said, no, we didn't drive 4 hours for us to get here for 7 minutes and then get in the car and go back. But that's what they wanted to do. But it was just being able to get out and go someplace. I miss that. And I don't know if the parks are open, if Yellowstone, if Zion, like a lot of these, beautiful places, campsites, if those are open. But, I do miss that. And it was just one of those where you take it for granted. Like the sun is out, you're driving, windows are down, and you're going to see Mount Rushmore. And it was everything I thought it was going to be and then some. Like you just look at it and you go, I don't know how he did it. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And it's pretty impressive. Yeah, Paulie.
And it is really cool. There's a visitor center there, and it shows that like young kids, college interns did it, and they spent 7 or 8 hours down, like rappelling down on a little board and a rope, and they had their lunch sent down to them. The visitor center was really cool, and the learning about the process and how long it took and how it almost didn't happen was really neat.
Yeah, it was. And I hope to be able to do one of those where you just drive someplace. You get to go someplace and just see something. Because we're all sort of in this, we're all under this bubble. It just depends on what your bubble looks like or feels like. McLevin, are we going to keep the poll question from the first 2 hours?
So first 2 hours, if you were a player, does eating with buddies and playing cards for 3 months sound amazing or awful? 58% say amazing. It's pretty close. Yeah, we could switch it up. There are some interesting topics there's a lot of quarterback controversy out there right now.
What do you mean?
There's some rankings. You said no more rankings.
Is this the Phil Simms or Chris Simms rankings?
There's that.
Somebody in the Simms family?
CBS Sports.com left Aaron Rodgers out of their top 10.
It feels like, and I don't want to accuse them, but you're just basically baiting people. You're trolling people. Because if you put Aaron Rodgers 9, then nobody's going to be talking about the list, I'm going to guess. Aaron Rodgers, let's put it this way. If you want to give me Aaron Rodgers, I'm fine with whoever you take. Like, I still think that he can play at a very high level. I saw where there's a lot of people who think he's going to be the MVP this year, like he's going to be motivated. Last I looked, he's still throwing to those same receivers. Now, if you said he had CeeDee Lamb or Henry Ruggs or somebody like that, I'd go, okay, all right, I'm interested. Dak Prescott, to me, has a better chance of being MVP than Aaron Rodgers does because he's got all of these weapons. Yeah, McLevin.
This is a real system issue. Matt LaFleur runs the ball. That's why Aaron Rodgers' stats went down. And then, and it's going to happen again this year. There's no way he's MVP.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
They just say, Aaron Rodgers' numbers are down. They're down because you have a head coach who wants to emulate the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers threw less and less and less every game because they have less and less and less confidence in their quarterback. That, I don't think, is the case in Green Bay. But that's what Green Bay is trying to emulate, is what San Francisco. If I had Aaron Rodgers in San Francisco and Jimmy Garoppolo's in Green Bay, I understand it. If you said Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback with the San Francisco 49ers, are they throwing less and less and less each game? And the answer is no. Would Green Bay throw less and run more with Jimmy Garoppolo? Yes. And by the way, this pity party for Jimmy Garoppolo, it wasn't the Kyle Juszczyk who came out and said, hey, why is everybody, not on Jimmy Garoppolo's bandwagon and saying nice things about him? And, he took us to the Super Bowl. And I went, hey, Kyle, why don't you ask your coach and your GM who flirted with bringing in Tom Brady? Like, hey, I can say nice things about Jimmy Garoppolo. Your coach and GM admitted that they flirted with bringing Tom Brady in. I know he took you to the Super Bowl, but I would check inventory there in your own building before you go, hey, why aren't you guys saying nice things about Jimmy Garoppolo? Until Jimmy Garoppolo shows me he can do it on a consistent basis in a big moment, all right, I'm going to have doubts about him. That's all. Hey, he wins games. Okay. He wins games. But he didn't step up when you needed him to step up. Yeah, Paulie.
There's another quarterback list, and I'm not going to give you the name yet because I want to skew it.
Okay.
But if I said you could have one of the 3 following quarterbacks for the next season, regardless of
just
what
one season.
Yes, this upcoming season, regardless of what your roster is.
Okay.
You have a competitive team.
Okay.
Tom Brady, Drew Brees, or Ryan Tannehill? You get to pick, Dan.
I have a competitive team.
Yeah, you have a good team. You got weapons. You got a good line. You got generally a good team. You're a playoff contending team, no doubt. You could pick one of those three. For one season, the cost is the same.
See, you threw in Tannehill, and that's the curve here.
Because this person had Ryan Tannehill ranked above Tom Brady and Drew Brees for the upcoming season.
Is this the CBS poll?
This is the Chris Sims poll.
Chris Sims has Ryan Tannehill.
He has him 11th in the league, quarterback rankings. And Tannehill had a very good regular season last year. Regular season.
Well, wait, where were his numbers during the regular season?
I think he was like 70%. His touchdown interception ratio was fantastic. He did not throw for high-end numbers as far as like yards because they run the ball. But in the playoffs, he did not.
His success is predicated on one thing. Derrick Henry. That's it. Derrick Henry.
But he didn't factor that in. He said he's ranking the quarterbacks.
Derrick Henry. If you don't have Derrick Henry on that team, Ryan Tannehill's not in the top 15 or 20. Play action, and I got Derrick Henry. Now I got your attention. I mean, Tom Brady's never had that running back. Yes, he.
Why didn't Marcus Mariota get the Derrick Henry bump?
Maybe he did. Maybe that's as good as he's going to get. Well, Tannehill was a good quarterback with the Dolphins. I mean, I thought he's a really good athlete. I thought he was good in Miami, but then it felt like he had peaked, and then he got to Tennessee. I mean, they didn't win because of his arm. Chris Sims can't argue that they won because of his arm.
Just showing you the rankings.
I know. Look, everybody. Okay, here's something for you. Over the last 2 seasons, this quarterback has had 51 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. He's on the downhill. He's on the downslide. He's had a down year. That's Aaron Rodgers. 51 and 6 for a guy who's on a team that's not throwing the ball as much as they once did. If I see those numbers, I kind of think maybe we should throw it just a little bit more. Yeah, McLovin.
I pulled up Drew Brees' stats the last 2 years. I mean, it's just silly. He is as close to perfect at 40. I mean, he had one of his highest ratings last year. I don't remember him being that awesome.
Right? I don't either.
He had 27 touchdowns, 4 picks. He threw for more yards than Tannehill in just 11 starts. 74.3, led the league, 74% completion.
Yeah.
All to Michael Thomas. And just threw the same guy over and over again.
Yeah. These lists they're skewed. They're flawed. Didn't somebody, is Tua not even ranked in the top 40 quarterbacks? I think that was another list that I saw.
Sims has his quarterbacks, and he says because of injury and the unknown, he has Tua ranked 40th.
Okay.
But to give Chris Sims credit, he doesn't hot take it. If you talk to him off the air, he believes everything he's saying. He believed it about Lamar Jackson when he said he should be the first quarterback taken 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, and I applauded him for that.
He's not a hot taker. He really believes that he has Tannehill 11th and Jimmy Garoppolo 20th.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I don't see much difference. I'd probably take Tannehill because he has a little bit more experience there than I would Garoppolo. In his first season as a starter, Garoppolo threw 13 interceptions. Rodgers has thrown that many only once in his 12 years as a starter, and that was back in 2008, his first year as a starter. I want my quarterback to take care of the football. People just don't like Aaron Rodgers. That's it. Plain and simple. Because if I said, look at these numbers with this quarterback, you'd go, oh, wow, I want that quarterback. And then I say Aaron Rodgers. He's not a team player. Oh, he's self. Oh, it's all about him. I got an ego. Okay. Yeah, Paul.
It seems like this is the natural cycle. The media has been just giddy over Aaron Rodgers for the past decade, even though the Packers have not gone deep into the playoffs. I'm sorry, not made the Super Bowl since early when he won it. And it almost feels like now everyone's going the opposite, just the natural wave of, we've said so much good about him, the most talented guy, the best arm, best combo, most talent. And now it's like, okay, what's the new story? All right, let's just jump on him.
And I agree with that because I hated when I heard, well, he's the most talented quarterback. Okay, is he the best quarterback? Because it was always the most talented. All right, I'm going to take the best quarterback. You can have the most talent. I remember playing games, basketball games, where somebody had far more talent than somebody, but the other guy was a better player. And Ryan Tannehill is a great athlete, but is he a great quarterback? You know, like it's weird how we look at these quarterbacks. Remember Kyler Murray couldn't play, he was too short? When's the last time you heard Kyler Murray can't play because he's too short? That went away. He didn't get any taller. Lamar Jackson. I would come in on Monday and say, I mean, this guy is unbelievable. Then, you know what I'd hear? Oh, he can't pass. Oh, no, he can't read defense. He won't get away with that in the pros. That doesn't come up anymore. Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he's too much of a gunslinger. You know, loose with the ball. You know, maybe a backup. You don't hear anything about that. It's just we get caught in something and then we believe in it after a while. You just reinforce it over and over and over. That guy is this or that guy is that. Yeah, McLovin.
You know who has a ton of talent and it's very high on some of these lists? Matthew Stafford. There's very few more talented quarterbacks than him. But there's something that doesn't happen there. I can't explain why.
Well, has there been a big moment for Matthew Stafford?
No, he hasn't capitalized on that talent to its fullest degree. He throws the prettiest ball, has thousands of yards.
It really just depends on what you want with your quarterback. Now, what style do you play? What kind of personality do you want? But, you know, this Jimmy Garoppolo love, you'll get love if you win. But you can't tell me that your game plan is to give you the ball and have you pass the ball. It's about running the football. And the fact that Green Bay is subscribing to an offense that Green Bay couldn't stop. So let's say Green Bay runs the football now. What happens when you play San Francisco when they run it down your throat again? Doesn't matter who's quarterbacking. Because your style is going to be, you're going to face the same team as far as doing the same thing you are, and they're going to be better than you. And their defense is a whole lot better than yours. Certainly up front. Yeah, McClellan.
Best way to help a defense, strong run game.
Oh, I know.
Bill Barr, or somebody said that. I don't know. No, but you got to keep that ball out of their hands. You got to run. That's why teams are running now. You called this 3 years ago. You said everyone will stop spreading out and start running again.
I did say that I thought that it would be, somebody would be counterintuitive and they'd go, you know what, we're just going to run the ball. And you saw that with Tennessee last year. You know, they almost went to the Super Bowl.
Baltimore too, right?
Yep.
They ran
the ball. But you're going to see Lamar Jackson running less. And hopefully less on a beach playing beach football. I mean, I know that he's too young to remember the running back, Robert Edwards, who blew out his knee at the Pro Bowl playing on the beach football game. It's one thing to run on the beach, and it's really rehabilitating if you've had surgery. But when you're darting back and forth and diving over a jet ski, I don't recommend that.
Play all-time quarterback. Just throw a few. Let the bros and their vineyard vines run around and catch some passes. Make a day at Sandals. Make their day and stay at all-time quarterback.
When I saw the video, I went, "Oh no, this is not how it ends." Like what's going on? Hey, what happened to Lamar Jackson? Jet ski. Oh, he was on it? No. He jumped over a jet ski. He blew out his knee. He was wearing cargo shorts too. Like there should be a waiver in there. There should be a clause. No, nothing on the beach playing football. I got to put him under a bubble so nothing happens here. And he finally admitted that they were looking ahead with the Titans. They looked past the Titans and it cost him. And you could tell from the outset, Tennessee was there to play. Baltimore was there to go through the motions because we're going to beat Tennessee. All right, we'll take a break. Dale Jr., now a Hall of Famer, is going to join us coming up. Always appreciate him joining us. And I will get to more phone calls coming up in the, I just saw Jr. there pop up on his screen. Don't scare me like that, Jr. We'll come back. We'll talk to Dale Jr. It's 20 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. You check things all the time, like your email, your Instagram. Check something important like your credit. Discover makes it quick and easy. Best of all, it's free. Discover's now offering FICO credit scores, the score used by 90% of top lenders, and doing so for free. Even if you're not a customer, checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes. It's called the Discover Credit Scorecard. It's free for everyone. You can learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more. Discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. So I'm in the chair yesterday with the dentist getting my tooth reattached. And then Paulie goes, send a picture. Send a picture. And my phone is vibrating. I have it on, in my pocket. And the dentist goes, are you going to answer that? And I go, okay. So pick up the phone. Paulie says, send a picture. And then I take a picture with my tooth out. And Paulie goes, old time hockey.
You look tough.
Yeah. Yeah. So Paulie, do you want to show this picture?
We going to do a look in on it or what? Let's see this sucker.
Well, it is content. Paulie, yeah, you can do it. I'm fine with it. Yeah, I sent it to Paulie yesterday. And that's old-time hockey. That's old-time hockey there.
Eddie Shores, hit him in his mind.
They made me wear the goggles, so I'm James Worthy sitting in the chair as they're trying to repair my tooth. Yes.
Can we please take that image and put it on a T-shirt?
Old-time hockey. We'll sell 1,000 of them today.
Just like the Todd picture where he's like at his bar mitzvah or whatever. Can we just put that picture on a T-shirt? It's great.
Are we going to have a caption on it?
No, just the picture.
Oh.
Just the picture.
All right.
It's the best, dude. It's the best.
Yeah. Old-time hockey.
You're awesome, dude.
I know. In the middle of this, you know what hurts more than anything when you go to the dentist is when they shoot the Novocaine into the front of your gums.
A little pinch here.
Oh, my eyes watered. I didn't cry. They just watered because they always go a little pinch here, and then you can feel it going in, and I'm going, golly, this is not just a little pinch. And then they numb it up, and then all of a sudden, you're talking about and then the tooth is out. You know what? But I play hurt here. I play hurt. Yeah, we can make a T-shirt out of that if you want to. A limited run of tough guy hockey.
The tooth shirt.
Yeah.
We'll send one to Ronick. Have like a nice medium for him. We'll wear it on the show.
I know that here's a pun coming. Here, yes, Fritzy.
No, I don't have anything yet.
No,
I think we may be working on a few.
I thought it was tooth, nothing but the tooth, so help me God, something like that.
What time did you go to the dentist?
It was 2:30.
2:30. Hey-oo. 2:30.
Yeah. All righty.
First of all, congratulations to Coach Laws in Missouri. Coach Laws, congratulations in Missouri for guessing the numbers.
Is that annoying?
A little bit.
Do you think this is annoying?
You're trying to peek at the answer over here. All right, 62 and 94. The clue for 62. Ready? Of course. Of course he's out of hibernation, 62. Of course he's out of hibernation.
Sounds like a bear.
1962, Jack Nicklaus wins the U.S. Open.
Golden Bear.
His first major title by 3 strokes in an 18-hole playoff against Arnold Palmer. 94, you guys should definitely get this one. 94 is 1994. O.J. Simpson doesn't turn himself in on murder charges. L.A. police chase his Ford Bronco for an hour and a half before he eventually gives up. Seen live on national TV, the famous 405 freeway chase. Jack Nicklaus, 1962. O.J. Simpson Bronco chase, 1994 on this date. Sports history. Booyah.
We'll get to your phone calls coming up. I just got this stat. Matthew Stafford, 18th all-time in career passing yards. He's the only quarterback in the top 20 who has never won a postseason game. These quarterback rankings drive me crazy. Dale Jr., NASCAR on NBC analyst, semi-retired NASCAR driver. He was elected to the NASCAR Hall of Fame yesterday, part of the class of 2021, and he just finished fifth in the Hooters 250 at Homestead this past weekend. Junior joining us. Congratulations. Are you semi-retired? Like, what is your driving status here, Dale?
I think it's retired, but because when I race once a year, it's in the Xfinity Series, which is kind of like our minor leagues. I get to go down in that series. It's a much shorter race than the Cup race on Sunday. It's about half the distance. And I get to race against the guys that may be racing for Cup championships in 5 to 10, 15 years. So I enjoy it. I get a little chance to remind myself a lot about what being in the race car is like. So if I'm in the broadcast booth, over the period of being in a broadcast booth for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you forget what that heat and that stress is all about, what goes through a driver's mind. And so it really keeps all that refreshed on my memory so that when I'm in the booth, I can talk a little bit more about what the drivers are going through with confidence. So I'm going to try to do that one race a year as long as I can, I guess. But, for that very reason alone, because I feel like it makes me so much better in the booth, gives me a lot more confidence in the booth to be able to talk about what I think what I think is going through a driver's mind.
What is that helmet over your left shoulder on the desk?
This is a 1974 Winston Racing Series championship helmet that was given to a guy named Jimmy Means. When I was a little boy, I went to the racetrack, and I'm a huge underdog fan. I love an underdog story. Jimmy was an independent that ran toward the back of the pack on borrowed equipment, and he was parked next to my father in the garage at North Wilkesboro Speedway, probably around 1985, 86. And I said, I think I'm going to pull for this guy, Dad. And he goes, you want to meet him? And so he took me right over to meet Jimmy. Jimmy's working on his car and had a few volunteers helping him at the racetrack. Me and Jimmy's son, Brad, are the same age. And from that moment on, me and Brad became great friends and would seek each other out at the races on the weekends to hang out. Brad gave me that helmet because that was awarded to his father back in 1974 for racing. He was a very successful short track racer in Alabama, Nashville, and before he moved on to the Cup Series.
That's pretty cool. What's the best piece of are you at home now, or is that work?
Yeah, I'm at home.
Okay, what's the coolest piece of memorabilia you got there?
This is a great story, and I'm surprised if I haven't told you this, but I was cleaning out an attic on a building, and I had been just throwing junk up there, old monitors and all kinds of things that were that I just don't throw stuff away, probably hoard too much stuff, keep too much crap. But so I'm looking through this attic and we're cleaning it out. We got a flatbed pickup truck that we're throwing all this garbage and old stuff onto. And I found a black trash bag and I just chunked it into the back of this truck with a bunch of other stuff. Thankfully, a friend of mine was down in that truck bed, looked in that bag, and he goes, "Hey, there's a driver's uniform in this bag." And I was like, "Oh man, I don't want to throw that away," I'm thinking it was probably one of mine.
Oh,
and he pulls it out, and it's a yellow uniform with blue stripes on the sleeves.
The Wrangler?
Way before that. So I get this uniform and I start looking at it. And after about a month or two of looking at pictures and comparing the patches, the location of the patches and all the things, any kind of identification to the uniform, this uniform is the 1979 uniform my dad used when he won his first Cup race at Bristol, Tennessee. I don't know how I got it. I don't know why it was in a black trash bag in that attic. And I almost threw it away.
Oh, boy.
Almost. I mean, that load was going straight to the dump, never to be seen again. So I think because of that experience, as traumatic as it was, I'm so glad that I have that. I also have a uniform of my grandfather, Ralph Earnhardt, that I just acquired recently, and I have those two together, and that's just that's stuff you can't really put a price on. It's one of a kind, and it's close to my family.
Did you think about creating your own museum?
We have, at Junior Motorsports over at our shop, it's about 10 minutes from my house. We ran a 4-car race team, and we've always talked about if we ever did downsize or if Junior Motorsports wasn't in, racing every single weekend, that we could use that space. And I think we have enough stuff that would be interesting of people to want to come through there. We get a lot of foot traffic into our shop. We give tours throughout the week. And so, we still have pretty good foot traffic. I was wondering, when I retired, if that would just kind of die down and people might not be interested in coming to our place anymore, maybe going to more current race teams and seeing what's going on with teams that are competing today. But the foot traffic's been pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I've thought about that, and I have quite a unique collection of stuff, old autographs and things like that I've acquired over the years.
He's Dale Jr. going into the Hall of Fame. How does that sound?
It hasn't sunk in yet. It's weird.
That means you're old, I think, Junior.
Well, I think, in my opinion, I'm much too young to go into the Hall of Fame. And if you really looked at the sheet of nominees, man, I'm so much younger than a lot of those guys. And so I was really totally comfortable with waiting for my turn because a lot of those guys, man, everyone on that sheet belongs in there, and they will get in there one day. I think it's automatic if you even get nominated that you're going into the Hall at some point, even with the restrictions that they have. But I was just blown away to be selected above guys like Harry Gant, Neil Bonnet, and others that truly belong in that Hall of Fame. So as excited as I am to be a part of it, I'm looking forward to the future inductees as we go down the road and standing on stage with those guys. I'm getting text messages from all my friends, all the guys in the sport, in the industry, even Hall of Famers themselves, Ray Evernham, Mark Martin, Roger Penske. And I told them, I said, I can't wait to stand on that stage next to you guys. That's just going to be an emotional experience. But I was really proud to be selected.
How's the family?
Amy's great. She's midway through her pregnancy with our second child. We're going to have a little girl in October. Isla's 26, 27 months. Starting to ask why this, why that, which is kind of cool. All the things that people tell you that, kind of might get a little old or get that terrible twos that they talk about and all that stuff. When she starts doing anything new, I get excited. She's getting hard-headed. She's getting, we're sort of getting in, we're really transitioning into that phase where we're starting to have to kind of decide how we want to discipline her. And she's starting to get to the point where she needs to understand not to do this and that and the other, instead of us telling, when we tell her, hey, don't do that, don't grab that, don't pick that up, she does it because she thinks it's funny or thinks it's a game. And we need to sort of figure out how to, parenting's tough, man. We need to figure out how to help her understand, what the rules are and when we mean business. And
you need a crew chief. She may take after her grandfather.
Yeah, I have, I don't know exactly the right way to do it, but we're learning on the fly to try to.
You'll never figure it out, Junior.
I know. I don't know why I'm taking this so seriously.
Yeah, it's survival to the next day, and I have 3 girls to go along with my son. There are going to be days when you're going to look at Amy and go, I don't, and you're already outnumbered. You're going to go, I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah,
because the range of emotions that those girls are going to have, you're going to go, help me here. I have no idea what's going on.
I know, and I'm all right. I've always, Amy come into my life and gave me so much love, and Isla has done the same thing. I'm anticipating our next delivery to add even more love to our home, and so I am in I'm in heaven with all these girls around me. Wanting to cuddle and hold on to me all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, and girls never leave you too. That's the beauty. The girls.
That's funny. I was walking down the street, and I had Isla in a stroller, and I'm pushing. I walk by this guy, and he turns around and goes, "She's going to break your heart in about 16 years." And I thought, man, I hope that's not true.
She will. She will. Absolutely. Hey, before I let you go, Bubba Wallace's stance here with the Confederate flag. Man, I mean, that's a gutsy move to do it, and what he's been doing. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to him about this.
He's been very, very busy, but I was very proud of him, and it's a long time coming, you know. And we've had conversations about that in our sport over the last 2 decades, and I'm so proud of obviously Bubba, but our sport standing behind him, our leaders in our sport standing behind him and making for change, and you know, I know that's going to be a difficult road for them and for us going forward, but this was monumental. Bubba said it. NASCAR reacted. That was incredible. I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't know you could ban a flag. So, you know, kudos to NASCAR for their efforts to support Bubba and all the sport. You know, we just want everybody to feel comfortable when they come to the racetrack. And it sucks that there's anybody that feels like they can't come to the racetrack because they don't feel wanted, don't feel comfortable, can't enjoy the experience. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for everybody to be able to come and watch the races and have a great time, have a great family atmosphere.
My best to Amy, and hope everything goes well with the delivery and going into the Hall of Fame. And it's good to talk to you.
Hey, buddy. Always good to talk to you guys.
Thank you,
Take care.
Junior.
Yes, sir.
That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. We'll take a break. We're back after this with your phone calls. Father's Day can be tough, but I've got a couple of tips for you to make it go a little smoother. One of the most important things to do on Father's Day is to relax. So to help you out in understanding that, I brought in the master, Professor P. Pabst.
Paul Pabst, your leisure guru, back with another tip. Now, everyone knows you gotta have a great cooler. It's a hot day, you don't want the drinks getting warm, that's a disaster. This is as good as it gets right here from Cabela's. Now, Cabela's decided to go to the next level. Your drinks are cold, everything's set. Uh-oh, forgot a beer opener. Problem solved.
Celebrate Father's Day by shopping in-store or online to make sure you find the perfect gift for Dad. The Flannery beef package has arrived. Let's see what's on the menu. Ooh. To my untrained eye, this looks like hanger steak. And I believe Chef Allen has some help in the kitchen.
Hey guys, so this week Flannery Beef decided to hand deliver some steaks for us. We have Brian Flannery with us. He's the king of all this. He's going to tell you about what we have.
Thanks, Alan. Great to be here. Brought out a great steak today to showcase. It's a hanger steak. Comes from inside the rib cage of the animal. These are all USDA prime, very high marbling content, and it'll be as tender as anything you've ever had, period.
So I brought out some kosher salt and pepper. What do you think I should do with this?
I think that's perfect. I think it's absolutely perfect. My famous saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This piece of meat's bringing such a quality of flavor to the table that you just want to enhance it.
Great, so why don't we get these started? All right, this oil is good and hot, should be ready to go. Yep, that's what you want to hear.
Again, the beauty of this is you can do anything with it. Obviously, we can cast iron it. With or without oil, you can grill them, you can bake them, you can cook them anywhere from very rare to very well done, and they'll be tender.
So I can be hanging out with people and I'm not going to screw these things up.
Or even more importantly, I have some friends who like well-done meat. I give them something like this and they're happy, I'm happy, because I know that they got something they wouldn't have anywhere else.
Slice it nice against the grain. Yeah, that's perfect. Brian, Thanks again for coming.
My pleasure. Enjoyed
Guys
it.
in the back, you've been waiting. It's all sliced up. Bon appetit.
So during the show, while I've been doing the show, I got some hanger steak.
That's where you were?
Yeah. So when I disappear,
Saw you running around.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you ask the guest a question, then hustle out, and then get back. For the
Well,
answer.
I have the Wi-Fi technology.
Yeah.
And then I can just check the temperature. I didn't have to leave.
True.
To be safe. To be honest with you. So I came up with some hanger steak from Flannery's, and I should.
Looks tasty.
Well, let me spend a little time on this. If you guys want to watch.
It's pretty juicy. I need a few more just to make sure.
You can't really do play-by-play whilst eating with a mouthful of food.
Yeah,
Considered
you know,
rude.
you're right, Todd. I should try one more.
I think at least.
So this is hanger steak.
What if all four of us just rush it?
Yeah,
Who's down?
someone knock him down.
Who's down? He's got a knife, but we could take him.
Charp. I like the charp.
Are you defending the meat?
Are you
keeping us away?
Just separating it.
Yeah.
What quadrant?
Go ahead.
Somebody throw something at him.
Just in time for Father's Day. Flannery. The promo code, by the way, is Dan, and you get, I think it's 20% off. That's right. No.
Stop it! Don't drop it. Don't fall down.
See?
That's not funny.
No, that was not funny at all.
Gene, that's not funny. Don't.
Yeah, if you trip.
There'd be a lot of unhappy.
Holy cow.
I think we can all still eat it. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
But that is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Cooked just right.
It's great.
All right, we got to go back.
Yeah. All right, fine. I'm not going to fall for that.
I whipped up a couple of hanger steaks here during the show. Not only putting on an award-winning show, but also cooking up those hanger steaks. Tastes pretty good, wouldn't you say, guys?
Crazy.
Yeah, good stuff. Flannery Beef, one of our partners, sent it in. Yeah, Paul.
They sell sausage. They have beer sausage on their website. I have to get some beer sausage.
Man, that's good. Good stuff. All right. Sophie in Los Angeles is here to join us with her soccer segment. The Premier League starts back up again today. Hi, Soph.
Hey, Dan. I've been kept entertained by the folks in Chat Row, as you call them, but I think you need to reconsider calling them the Board of Dan Rectors. These folks here are pretty authoritative, and they've kept me entertained. And there's a couple that know a fair bit about soccer, too. So a wee shout-out to Anthony and Steph for always engaging when I try to change the conversation to soccer.
Okay.
It's been 100 days for the Premier League to return, and not as long as Liverpool have been waiting to be crowned champions again, Dan. 30 years in the making, but it looks like their time is finally going to get here. We're doing 3 or 4 games a day. Today there's 2 games, Manchester City versus Arsenal, Aston Villa versus Sheffield United. They want to wrap this up by the end of July, because then the Champions League is going to kick in. It was just announced a couple of hours ago that the Champions League will return in a World Cup-style tournament from August 12th in Lisbon. You've got the round of 16 games yet to finish, and then all the way through right to the final in Lisbon as well. So there's going to be a ton of soccer. You've got the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich were just crowned champions as well. 8,687 COVID tests since testing started in the UK, only 16 positive results. And if anyone does test positive, they'll go into isolation for 7 days. So Paulie may finally see his Liverpool crown champions, Dan. Hope you guys are well and staying safe.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for that update there. Yeah, I don't know how soccer's pulling this off. I know that they're a couple of weeks ahead of us with this coronavirus, but you're getting all of these players together. I don't know if they're being quarantined. And you got international players who are traveling. I don't know how they're doing it. And then you look at what we're doing with the NBA, WNBA, the safety precautions put in place here. And meanwhile, baseball keeps tripping over there. Steve in South Carolina joins us. Hi, Steve. What do you have for me?
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
Good.
You're kind of burying the lead after the Bill Burr interview. I think you may have jinxed the show by saying that this was the anniversary of the Costner interview, and I want to know if from here on going forward, June 17th will now be known as F Days. I'll sit back and listen. Stuck at chat row.
Thank you, Steve. F-bomb day. It was a year ago when Costner dropped an F-bomb, and then was Bill Burr on that same day with Costner in a previous hour? Is that possible? Todd, would you check?
Yeah, I'm going to look.
All right, thank you. But Costner dropped an F-bomb on this day a year ago, and then Bill Burr dropped one earlier today. Who are we going to have on next June 17th or whatever this day is? Yes, Paul.
We got to book like Jerry West and Kurt Warner on that day to ensure that there's not a swear word.
Well, yes, McLevin.
We did talk about Chris Sims. And
he dropped one too. Right?
Yeah, we talked about him today.
Oh, yeah. And he dropped an F-bomb on the show. Todd, did you check?
I'm still looking.
Okay. All right, this day in sports history.
Well, they're almost all gone, Dan, so I'm down to 1995.
Stop pouting.
The New Jersey Devils set an NHL playoff record with 9 road wins. Back to you.
That was Marty Brodeur?
Yeah, that's right.
Marty Brodeur.
Ken Danico, maybe, on that squad?
Maybe.
I don't know.
He's mad because I brought up they had a 30 for 30 on this day, the greatest day in sports history. World Cup opens in L.A., Bronco Chase, Rockets Magic.
But you left out that in 1971, Don Kessinger of the Cubs went 6 for 6 against St. Louis. Eat it.
Yeah. June 17th. Wait, June 17th is considered the greatest sports day in history?
Well, they had, remember, it was an early 30 for 30. It was the Bronco Chase day.
Yeah.
And all sorts of other crazy stuff happened this day.
Did they mention that in 1990, Harry Gant became the oldest driver to win a NASCAR race? Boom. That's how you do sports history.
Well, Todd did his scoreboard, which is all about sports history.
All right, here you go. I'm trumping Paulie. Arnold Palmer played his final round of the U.S. Open today. The World Cup opened in L.A. The Rangers celebrated their first final or something. I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff.
You left out Joe Cronin of the Red Sox in 1943, hitting home runs in both ends of a doubleheader.
Yes, Fritzy.
I see Kevin Costner, Chris Mannix, Frank Isola, Bill Plaschke, Jim Nance as the guests from June 17, 2019.
Right. So Jim Nance did not drop an F-bomb. So June 17th will be celebrated as F-bomb day here. Although, how do you celebrate it? The problem, that may seem obvious if we were going to have somebody on, hey, how are you going to celebrate F-bomb day here on the Dan Patrick Show? We'll have to alert our affiliates there. Final results of the poll question, McLevin.
Okay, does being quarantined and hanging out with your buddies for 3 months sound awesome or awful? 52% say awesome still.
Coming up tomorrow, Paul Feinbaum from the Mothership, the voice of the SEC, will join us. He's calling for the firing of Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. I'd like to see how this kind of plays out with the team itself. And he's apologized a couple of times, but this isn't the first time that Gundy's been in the news for something that's not good. And Paul Feinbaum saying that Oklahoma State should be moving on from Mike Gundy. I just want to know how those players are going to react to that coach. Is this the only real issue they have with their coach? That he wore this T-shirt of a network that I think called Black Lives Matter a farce. And that's where some of these players, if you speak up, now's your opportunity. And is there anything else attached to this with Mike Gundy? But Paul Feinbaum saying he should be fired. Dr. Anthony Fauci will join us on the program, get an update on what the NBA is doing. And as we move forward with the NFL, what kind of safety precautions? And I keep saying that let's not talk about the second wave of the coronavirus, even though I have, but now I'm not going to talk about it until the end of the first wave happens. Then we can talk about the second wave if it's going to happen. Because baseball's talking about they don't want to play baseball in November. They're worried about the second wave hitting. Let's get through the first wave here before we're talking about the second wave. So Dr. Anthony Fauci will join us on the program. Frank in Hawaii joins us. Hi, Frank.
Actually, Danny, it's Dave in Hawaii. Watched the sun come up, and I didn't know if we could celebrate your F-bomb that you dropped. If you remember, it was the class, the lady from the elementary school that used to send in songs, and right after the song you said, "And those little blankers," and it was still on live. Did I get it wrong, or do we all remember that?
How many years ago was that, Paul?
Probably about 2.5, 3 years ago. That was on a look-in, not on the actual terrestrial radio show.
Yes.
But it was on a look-in on NBCSN would be my guess.
Yes. Yeah. But thank you, Dave / Frank in Hawaii. Yeah, that was one of the, when people say, oh, the cameras are rolling during the commercial breaks. And I always tell people it's 3 hours where the cameras are rolling. And everybody wanted to do this. When they saw that we were doing this, where we were showing you behind the scenes of our radio show, but go to a bar with your friends for 3 hours and not swear. Because, we've created this environment where it's natural, it's comfortable, and we just talk. And then sometimes you don't realize what you've said. And that's certainly, we've been caught a few times that way. No excuse for me dropping an F-bomb, because I am a Broadcasting Hall of Famer. Yes, McLovin.
Just to be clear, we're all trying to make each other laugh. We're not cursing at each other.
No, but you can still say something, and it can be in a whimsical way, or, you can be having fun when you say it. But, you let your guard down. And I have 13 cameras in here, and we have our microphones on when we're during commercial breaks on radio. And occasionally you get caught. And I think we've all gotten caught at some point doing something or saying something there. So the White Bronco chase, the Rangers Stanley Cup parade, Rockets-Knicks finals, that was Game 5. But that was during the White Bronco chase. And I covered the Rangers with the Stanley Cup that night when they won the Cup. That was the infamous, and I forget the bar we went to on the Upper East Side, and it was Mark Messier. And I remember drinking from the cup. And I made the mistake of asking what was in the cup. And then he said, if you have to ask, you don't get a drink. And he almost took away that privilege. Yes, Fritzy.
I wouldn't say it made it anticlimactic, but if you remember, it stopped with 1.6 seconds left. They had to do a face-off. Instead of just the final seconds ticking till the end, they had to pause and wait a second and a half to celebrate.
That's where you want to have that great call if you're the play-by-play guy. And then all of a sudden, it's like when McGuire broke the record, Roger Maris's home run record. That ball got out so quickly. It went like 330 feet down the line, bullet. And McGuire, and there's a drive. You didn't even have time to say, and there's a drive. It is high. It is far. Mark McGuire's the all-time home run single season. You didn't even get that. It's really, really quick. Todd, what did you learn on today's award-winning program?
The NBA says no pets, no doubles, ping pong, and all decks of cards must be discarded after a single use.
McLovin.
Bill Burr, very funny.
Yes, he is. He's always a treat to have on. Seton O'Connor.
Stand-up comic Bill Burr said the creepy people work in radio.
Hello.
That's a statement.
Yeah. I think he needs to take some inventory there. Fellow comedians. There.
Yeah, Bill.
Huh. Take that. Paulie.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. almost threw out his dad's fire suit from his first Cup race in '79.
What we learned brought to you by the great folks at Raycon. Their wireless earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order. BuyRaycon.com/Patrick. That's BuyRaycon.com/Patrick. Paul Feinbaum and Dr. Anthony Fauci on the program tomorrow. Talk to you then.